thousands of Syrian refugees. There was a big terror scare in Belgium this morning. 3 months after an airport and subway bombing, a man wearing a bomb belt claimed he would attack a shopping center, prompting evacuations. But it turned out he was just carrying salt and cookies. The man is said to have psychiatric problems and is in custody. A British man's been denied bail in Nevada for an attempt to attack Donald Trump on Saturday.
Michael Sanford was arrested at a Trump rally in Las Vegas after police say he tried to grab an officer's gun. According to court documents, Sanford told police that he drove from California to kill the presumptive Republican nominee.
Fox's Kristen Fisher. 2 new wildfires are threatening to merge into one in the Los Angeles foothills, burning 7 square miles, driving several hundred people from their homes. This man's also under fire, threatened San Diego County in California, watching
which way the wind's blowing and how much danger we are in, more or less than last week.
Fires also burn areas of Arizona and New Mexico. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Investigation continues. Chicago police are launching an investigation after a video posted online appears to show an officer punching a man during an arrest on the city's south side. Robert Foreman was arrested Sunday afternoon following an incident near 88th and Wabash. Governor Onner says, yes, he will run for office again in 2018. However, he tells the Tribune that Democrats will gain Illinois House seats in November, which may turn Speaker Michael Madigan into the dictator of the state. With Illinois approaching a full year without a state budget, Rauner is calling for a 6-month stopgap spending plan for the fiscal year that begins July 1. In a follow-up to a story we told you about yesterday, the western Illinois town of Mount Sterling won't cut water service to a prison in spite of the failure of the state to pay its bill. The Mount Sterling City Council voted 6-0 Monday against disconnecting service to Western Illinois Correctional Center, despite the $320,000 the city is owed. Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson speaking out following another violent weekend in Chicago. He called the violence unacceptable during a panel discussion yesterday at the City Club. He will address the issue again today at a graduation ceremony at Navy Pier for new cadets. 3 teens are being treated at an area hospital. They were shot early yesterday in Evanston. Police say the crime happened in the 1700 block of Dodge. A man behind bars accused of causing a deadly accident in Chicago's Little Village neighborhood. Heriberto Aguirre is held on $100,000 bond and charged with reckless homicide. Former House Speaker Dennis Hastert scheduled to report to prison this week. The 74-year-old must surrender by tomorrow afternoon to begin a 15-month sentence at the Federal Medical Center in Rochester, Minnesota. Nice comeback for the White Sox and a win over Boston. 3-1 in 10 innings of work. A good outing for Zach Duke out of the bullpen. St. Louis comes back to nip the Cubs 3-2. The news, a service of Oscar Mayer Beef Hot Dogs. When you think back to your favorite foods growing up, hot dogs are always on that list. Oscar Mayer hot dogs. But as you get older, you want to start eating a little more like a grown-up. So that's why Oscar Mayer Jumbo Beef Hot Dogs are made with all the great grown-up taste of 100% Angus beef. So enjoy a childhood favorite, all grown up. 5:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
What is this nonsense?
The Joe Walsh Show.
Time magazine had uncovered a question. Why did 49 people die? Why, are you serious? 49 innocent people lost their lives in Orlando because a Muslim terrorist killed them. There's your answer, you stupid media.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Now that spring has arrived, it's likely you're looking forward to the warmer weather. But if you're a business owner, facilities manager, or maintenance engineer, you risk the same potential problem every year. A complete system failure. In fact, up to half of all commercial air conditioning units fail upon startup each season due to the lack of regular maintenance and repair. Let the professionals at Air Comfort make a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system before there's a problem. A poorly operating air conditioning system results in uneven temperatures and humidity problems, leading to unhealthy mold and mildew growth. Don't compromise your business's overall air quality. Schedule today with Air Comfort. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Even if you're under contract with another provider, let Air Comfort provide your second opinion. After all, there's a reason why hundreds of businesses have trusted Air Comfort with their mechanical maintenance for more than 80 years. That's Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935.
5:06. Let's get an update on the roads in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center and the latest with Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. In LaGrange Park in Westchester, we have a closure of LaGrange Road right now between Cermak and 31st Street. This is due to a reported vehicle fire. Police are detouring traffic in that area. Elgin, there's a crash. Randall Road north of Royal. Traffic lights are out in Downers Grove at 63rd and Fairview. On the expressways, inbound Ryan still a little congested approaching downtown, but the overnight work at Roosevelt has cleared. There's still some construction outbound I-57. This is between 175th and I-80. Got 2 right lanes closed till 6 this morning. Elsewhere, the expressways and tollways are looking good. Traffic is a service of LifeLock. Do you bank online? Use public Wi-Fi? If so, your identity could be at risk. Help protect it with the best. LifeLock. Go to lifelock.com. Use promo code RISK15 for a special 15% off your first year. Offer ends July 3rd. lifelock.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer is next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Let's get the latest on our forecast with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, partly sunny and less humid, high 83. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 64. Tomorrow, watch for severe thunderstorms, which could bring damaging wind gusts, even a tornado. High tomorrow of 82 and a low 66. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
66 at O'Hare, 72 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Innovative Networks, communication, technology, and reliability for Chicagoland business. Online at go4inet.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And how's the foot doing? I saw you hobbling in here.
This building is really, it's not handicap accessible. If I was on a wheelchair, I'd still be outside. But yeah, foot's doing a little bit better. I went to Chinatown yesterday to get some acupuncture. Went to go see my lady on 33rd, and I'm taking some liver pills now. I'm trying anything and everything. I'm going to approach this holistically now.
It's a hairline fracture of one of your toes, right?
No, fifth metatarsal.
Oh, okay.
Please, one of my toes. Please
So-
leave my toes out of
So
this,
it's
okay?
a hairline fracture of
It
your
is very
foot,
painful.
and
It's painful, and I'm trying to make it unpainful by doing such things as ultrasound and acupuncture, and I'll try whatever I can try. And
listening to humpback whale mating calls.
It's very soothing this time of year.
Yeah.
Not to mention my bulldog slammed its head into my face. See this right here? Got a nice little shiner on my lip. Yeah.
Good luck with your holistic approach. Amy Jacobson will never walk again, is what I'm predicting.
No, don't say that. This ruined my whole summer. I'm trying not to get depressed because, you go through the stages of you're mad and then you're in shock and then you're like, ugh.
Why don't you just go to the doctor and get one of those walking boots and, let it heal itself in about 4 to 6 weeks?
Well, that's what I'm going to have to do, but it's swollen right now before I get the full boot. But
I'm not a doctor.
But not if this alternative medicine works.
Yeah, neither are they.
And I sent you a picture yesterday. I had to use a scooter at the Jewels. You told me to pick the one with the orange flag sticking out. So I picked that one, and I knocked over one display case of toilet paper. And then, because, if you've never used one of those scooters, and I think I was the youngest person to ever use one of those scooters with the basket in front.
Right.
I was making hairpin turns. And I think I got up to 7 miles per hour.
Yeah. Well, it's nice. The people at the grocery store are very nice to
They were
seniors.
so sweet.
So
Stop
I'm
it.
sure they didn't mind.
Oh, one lady's like, watch yourself. An older woman was a little mad that I was using one of the 2 scooters that they offer. But
Probably didn't want to get run down
yeah.
either.
And then the best part's when you get home and you need to hire somebody, a junk collector in the alley to help you carry your groceries in. But I did it. I got it done. So thanks for your support.
There you go.
I hope
It's
you
a
enjoyed the videos.
Little slice of Amy Jacobson's life. I hope everyone enjoyed that.
What did you do
What is
yesterday?
it like to a day in the life of Amy
Oh, no.
Jacobson? It's
I
gotta
want
be
to change.
fascinating.
I want to change positions for a day. And you're gonna
Yes.
have to cook, and you're gonna have to clean. You're gonna have to grocery store. You're gonna have to do 3 loads of laundry, empty the dishwasher, water the plants, feed the animals.
The only
Are
thing,
you in?
The only 2 things I have to do is stay white and die. And I'm not going to be doing any of what you just described.
But it'd be fun just for a day.
Yeah.
I could go golfing. I could drive your fancy car. Maybe have a nice little fancy lunch at your fancy restaurant.
What's
that
that
you go
terrible
to.
reality show? Is it Wife Swap or something?
We could do a coworker swap.
Yeah, right. Host
you know
swap.
What? We should
Yeah.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man! Oh, somebody opened the door for me.
Let me
Is that
tell
you
you.
have a doorman, right, and a butler.
You better put Peyton and Eli on notice if that happens. New sheriff in town.
You would have them. You'd have them reading the Constitution. Have
Yeah.
you memorized the Bill of Rights?
You'll come
Yes.
back. They will no longer be enrolled in Blaine Elementary. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, and today's the last day of school, so
Yeah.
to all the Chicago public school kids, have a great summer and be nice to your parents because they're going to be coming here. Did you hear that they have an internship? Eli and Peyton.
Oh, they have an internship here?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
We're going to have
great.
them, they're going to unpack our stuff because we have a new office, so they can start there, and then, maybe eventually we'll bring them in here.
Finally, somebody other than Mike Scott will be around to make coffee. It's great. All right, on to more serious matters.
Yes, very serious.
On today's show, we will not be making any references to radical Islam until we can piece together what motivated the Orlando killer.
Okay.
Because,
all right.
I mean, like the New York Times, I'm just baffled after reading the redacted transcripts.
Uh-huh.
I just, what was he trying to say? And then when DOJ did a full reversal,
Yeah, because of you and Paul Ryan.
in no particular order.
Yes.
Uh,
You demanded transparency and you got it.
And so when they released the full transcripts, where the references to Allah were not deleted, because I couldn't fill in those blanks.
No, you couldn't. You were wondering, God, Allah. I mean, who is he praying to?
I'm still just like most of the DC press corps and the Obama administration. What was it?
Islamic soldier? Is that what they? And then they put that back in.
I pledge allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of the Islamic State. May Allah protect him on behalf of the Islamic State. What is he?
What is he?
What is he trying to say? It's bizarre.
What does he mean?
Yeah, Is it because of the assault weapon ban that sunsetted in 2004? Is that what he's getting at when he said?
I think so.
Yeah,
Possibly.
Yeah. Catherine Herridge was on with Greta last night, and she had her take on what are some of the things that repeat in these 911 transcripts, as well as trying to explain the Department of Justice's full reversal from everything Loretta Lynch said on the Sunday talk shows to their decision to ultimately release the unredacted transcripts after releasing the comically redacted transcripts. Here's Herridge on what repeats in those transcripts.
The other thing that jumps out in the transcript is that his pledge of allegiance to ISIS and its leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was not a one-off. There's like a steady drum beat throughout these tapes and in the negotiations with the crisis team of this pledge of allegiance. So he really declares himself very effectively as a follower of the Islamic State.
Oh. And then did the FBI call Catherine Herridge and say, don't say Islamic State?
Right. Also, I mean, for those who were critical of the police response, why didn't they go right in? Why didn't they just kind of blast in right away as soon as there was a recognition of what was happening on one of the 911 calls, as we referenced before, but now we have specifically what the killer said. Quote, there is some vehicle outside that has bombs, just to let you know. You people are going to get it, and I'm going to ignite it if they try to do anything stupid. So,
and then he also said
trying to
tweeted,
assess the threat, in real time with this terrorist making suggestions like this. It's not so easy from kind of the 30,000 foot perspective to say what police should or shouldn't have done in that circumstance.
And then they also, too, he said that if they do try to come in, that he's going to strap bombs onto 4 hostages here. So, and what we did learn yesterday is that of the 202 rounds that were fired by Mr. Mateen, or whatever, why did I call him Mr., by that monster, nobody was killed in friendly fire. So when police did enter and did fire shots, no one was killed that way. So, because they were concerned about that at first, if friendly fire took anyone down, but it did not happen.
And then,
but also, too, some family members came forward yesterday, Dan, and said that they're upset because their loved one bled to death because it took 3 hours to rescue them.
Well, and again, when you have a little bit more context here, I understand, and I don't, I'm not going to comment on a family member who's grieving about losing a family member, but to suggest that people were just sitting around not doing anything for 3 hours, and it was obvious they could have done something different than they did, it's not obvious, and it's not easy. And when you have somebody that is suggesting that the place there or other places near the club could be rigged to blow, it's not so easy to kind of second guess police in that situation. That's all.
Right. And they did do as much as they could during the standoff. I mean, they did take that air conditioning unit down, and then people crawled out through that window unit, and they saved 32 people that way. So, but they said it all took 8 minutes to kill 49 people.
Yeah, but the issue is, in terms of the Department of Justice, Chief Law Enforcement Officer, the Attorney General, the Department of Justice, effectively the chief law enforcement agency of the country. And think about the implications of what you saw Loretta Lynch do over the weekend, the ridiculousness of the quote-unquote redacted transcripts that were initially put out, and then the reversal by Department of Justice because of how comically stupid it all was, were the situation not so serious. Catherine Harris talked to one FBI official about the decision-making and what it calls into question, like the credibility of justice and the FBI.
I did speak with a former FBI official before I came on the air tonight who said that just the fact that it changed so quickly tells you that it was politically motivated, because if it was about the sanctity of the investigation, they would have just, stuck to their guns. And the second thing is that it really raises a question about the integrity of the evidence. This person said to me that they've always known FBI Director James Comey to be someone who has been really solid on the importance of the integrity of the evidence. And this person said in their 20-plus years at the Bureau they had never seen this before, and it raised a lot of questions as to the approach and attitude of the Justice Department and the FBI to other ongoing investigations.
Boy, does it.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Partly sunny today, pleasant and less humid, a high of 83 degrees. Then tonight we're going to have some showers and thunderstorms roll through here. And tomorrow, watch for some severe storms, some high winds and variable cloudiness after that. And it'll be a little bit cooler, a high in the upper 70s. Let's get those travel times on the last day of school. For CPS, here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. 394 northbound at 8094. There's a rollover crash in the ditch. LaGrange Road in Westchester. Grange Park, it's shut down right now. Between 31st and Cermak, there's a reported vehicle fire. Police are detouring traffic. Travel times on the expressways are where you'd hope they would be right now. The Eden's all clear at 19 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Kennedy, 20 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. Eisenhower, Stevenson, the Rhine, all good. On the Rhine, that overnight work near Roosevelt is gone. There is construction outbound I-57, 175th to I-80. 2 right lanes are closed till 6 this morning. Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. They'll also keep you cool this summer with temporary air conditioners for any situation, big or small. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com. Reserve now for summer festival season.
Congratulations to all who took the Balance of Nature New Year's Challenge. Success stories are pouring in. So many people have been helped through this incentive that I have asked Balance of Nature to continue this challenge for as long as possible.
I'll tell you what, this stuff is great. I haven't gotten sick. Everybody around me is coming down with that laryngitis, and it seems like it's all over the country. It's like a respiratory tract infection, and people lose their voice, and then it goes away, and then it comes back like 2 weeks later, and it's worse. I teach in a school. Half the teachers here, are sick. They're miserable, and I haven't gotten sick, and I swear it's this stuff. It's this fruits and veggies I'm taking.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Hey, if you're a real estate professional or considering a career in real estate, I have an exciting new opportunity for you. It's a unique revenue and profit sharing model which allows you to gain partnership equity and experience a quality of life unmatched in the industry. Hi, I'm Mark Whittington with Inspire Realty Partners, and we believe it's time real estate professionals had an opportunity to build equity ownership and earn higher commissions. After all, do you know a retired real estate agent? Imagine having ownership equity and working toward building a retirement income stream. Inspire Realty Partners is a rapidly expanding team of like-minded professionals with a mission to elevate the level of service and provide a better experience for buyers and sellers. Our special program servicing veterans, first responders, educators, and their families has created an extra demand for quality associate partners. If you're interested in learning how you can become inspired, visit our career-specific website, joininspire.com. Again, that's joininspire.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so in addition to the reversal by Department of Justice, you have this curious case, or I should say despite the reversal by Department of Justice with release of the transcripts, you have this curious case of what they attempted to redact in the first place.
Yeah.
References to Allah, references to Islam.
Islamic soldier at one point, Islamic State.
Did
we already know that before?
Yeah. Well, unless you're a member of the New York Times editorial board, I think you had pieced this together. But it speaks to a certain fanaticism of this administration that Charles Krauthammer spoke to on Special Report yesterday.
Well, they may not have issued the order, but everybody understands under President Obama, you're not to make any reference that could possibly indict Islam or radical Islamism in a mass murder. So you have to pretend otherwise. Look, the reason they did a pivot is because it was beyond stupid. It was ridiculous. It was an embarrassment. As you say, everybody could see what the words underneath were. And what exactly are they accomplishing in pretending they weren't said? And it exposes the administration as fanatical in trying to cover up and hide the connection with Islam.
Yeah, fanatical. I mean, do you think expunging or attempting to expunge any connection between radical Islam and these terrorist attacks in the United States as well as the world over, do you think it makes us safer? Do you believe that the president and the regime truly believe that effort makes us safer? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Because I got to tell you, his approval ratings, Obama's, 50-50, basically.
Yeah, but after yesterday, I mean, this is a challenge and trust for me and the FBI and the Department of Justice, because they came out with them redacted, and then once they put pressure on by Republicans, say, hey, no, we want full transparency. We can handle this. We're big boys and girls. Just release the full transcript.
Well, right, but I mean, half this country, if you believe that he is well-intended, I guess I can understand. Okay, I can still support him because I believe he's well-intended. I mean, the road to hell and all that notwithstanding. But do you really believe it is good intentions, just misplaced good intentions, this, as Krauthammer said, fanatical effort to disconnect radical Islam from these specific terrorist attacks, not to mention global jihad? I mean, it to me seems like an important question people have to ask themselves when assessing this president. Because if you don't believe it's well-intended, if you believe it's some paean to political correctness or something worse, then when you have people's lives at stake, our national security at stake, how do you look at this guy and listen to this guy, I'm talking about the President of the United States, and say, oh, yeah, he's doing a pretty good job? I mean,
some people process it this way, thinking, oh, they don't want to say Islamic soldier or radical Islam because they don't want more recruits, more, homegrown, domesticated terrorists to come forward.
Well, right.
And want to be copycat crimes.
Well, that's the argument Loretta Lynch was making over the weekend. The question is, do you believe that? Is there any evidence to support that? That if you just don't mention them, then
the problem's going to go away.
ISIS just dissipates into the ether. Does anybody believe that? Come on. But so it's just kind of incredible to me. And then on the flip side, you have the Senate, trying to protect their phony baloney jobs by impersonating people who work yesterday.
Did you hear what Chris Murphy?
Well, going through the machinations on these 4 measures, all of which failed. That have nothing to do with what we are talking about in terms of these terrorist attacks on American soil.
Yeah, but Senator Murphy told the Washington Post before the vote that Republicans have decided to sell weapons to ISIS. And lo and behold, Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeted that as well. She said, thanks for your report. You're correct, and retweeted it.
Well, I mean, I would just say to Senator Murphy, I mean, if Republicans are doing that, they probably got the idea from Eric Holder selling weapons to Mexican drug cartels.
Hey-o. True.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Bruno in Naperville.
Yeah, so, they can't flood this country with hundreds of thousands of refugees, potential jihadis from that part of the world, unless they convince the gullible people in the American public that those people don't pose a danger to the country. So this redacting of the transcript is just part and parcel of that, sanitizing everything having to do with jihad so that the people will be more willing to just allow themselves to be led to the slaughter like sheep.
Thanks for the call, Bruno. I mean, Krauthammer made another point yesterday on a special report about just this administration's disposition with historical record. Think about the redacting of these 911 calls, the attempt to do it at least. And but also just remember whitewashing the State Department exchange between James Rosen and State Department spokesman about negotiations with the Iranian regime, and just trying to kind of eliminate that from the public record as well. That, I mean, kind of the rewriting of history is concerning. It is Orwellian or Obamian.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When elderly family require care, you insist on local medical professionals with specialized training in home services and nursing. Alliance Home Service is a leading family alternative to nursing home and institutional care. It's critical to ask the right questions when matching a caregiver to your loved one to maintain the most positive lifestyle for your entire family. Alliance Home Service is among a select group of Chicagoland companies providing in-home non-medical care such as hygiene, medication reminders, activities, and companionship leadership and medical care. All caregivers have the highest level of training and expertise. You'll experience the cost efficiency of in-home care as well as the level of caring you expect from family. Call founder and registered nurse Linda Weiler at 866-227-3459 or visit AllianceCaregiver.com for a no-obligation family care consultation. Alliance Home Service. Our family caring for your family. That's 866-227-3459 or AllianceCaregiver.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Will you stop selling weapons to ISIS, please?
I will.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Corey Lewandowski fails to make it to the Celebrity Apprentice Finals at 5:38.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Clear skies and 68 degrees this morning. We're focused on a developing story. Olympic leaders focusing on athlete doping today. They're meeting in Switzerland. The backdrop, the entire ban on Russian track and field athletes in Rio. They're looking at new ways to crack down on cheating. An Afghan official says 60 have been kidnapped in an attack on a convoy of buses and cars by Taliban insurgents. The attack occurring in the southern province of Helmand. New wildfires erupting overnight near L.A., chasing folks from their homes. Towering columns of smoke rising from the San Gabriel Mountains this morning. There are fears now that the several different fires will merge as one. Republican Party officials watching for any changes in Donald Trump's campaign style or strategy following the decision to oust top aide Corey Lewandowski.
I think it's time now for a different kind of a campaign. We ran a small, beautiful, well-unified campaign. It worked very well in the primaries.
He called Lewandowski terrific, said he counted the ousted top aide as a friend. Senate Democrats voicing their disappointment after a series of proposed gun control measures failed to move forward in the Senate. Florida Senator Bill Nelson.
What am I going to tell the community of Orlando that is trying to come together in the healing? Sadly, what I'm going to have to tell them is the NRA won again.
4 gun control votes fell primarily along party lines and failed to hit that 60-vote threshold. The FBI changes its mind, flip-flops, and releases the full transcripts from Orlando shooter Omar Mateen's call to 911. Fox's Catherine Herridge has all of the details.
The FBI and Justice Department releasing the transcript of the 911 call, and now you can see just how many times Omar Mateen pledges allegiance to ISIS and its leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. The original transcript blacked out those references. It reads in part, "Dispatcher, what's your name?" Omar Mateen, "My name is I pledge allegiance to redacted." Dispatcher, "Okay, what's your name?" Mateen, "I pledge allegiance to redacted. May God protect him on behalf of redacted."
Fox's Catherine Herridge this morning, with the FBI and the Department of Justice releasing a joint statement explaining they have reissued the complete transcript to include references in order to provide what they call the highest level of transparency. An investigation underway after a 4-year-old girl drowns at a West Suburban swim club. We're following plans for Governor Rauner to run again in 2018. And a Chicago alderman is agreeing to a compromise in an effort to keep ride-sharing in the city of Chicago. All those stories coming up at 6. White Sox over Boston 3-1 in 10. St. Louis beat the Cubs 3-2. The news, a service of Oscar Mayer beef hot dogs. When you think back to your favorite foods growing up, hot dogs are always on the list, especially Oscar Mayer hot dogs. But as you get older, you want to start eating more like a grown-up. So that's why Oscar Mayer hot dogs are made with the great grown-up taste of 100% Angus beef. Oscar Mayer jumbo beef hot dogs. Enjoy a childhood favorite, all grown up. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
There's a lot going on in the world.
A crazy election, international terrorism, a rocky economy, a state budget crisis.
Meanwhile, you're busy. Too busy to wait for some goofy talk show host at another radio station to finish talking about last night's baseball game or yesterday's viral internet video. You need information and what it means. Now, you need answers. That's why we're here with only the news, opinion, and insight you need. This is AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
You're unique, so why is your mattress one size fits all? Because a custom mattress costs thousands, until now. Hi, I'm Christian von Rickenbach, founder of HelixSleep.com, where you can buy a mattress online, customized for you, for hundreds of dollars instead of thousands. Go to HelixSleep.com, answer a few simple questions, and we build you the most comfortable mattress you'll ever sleep on. Shipping is free, and you have 100 nights to try it out. Go to HelixSleep.com/try now and get $50 off your order. HelixSleep.com/try now.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for help getting free medication, if available and eligible. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
5:37. Let's get an update on the roads. Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. The latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In LaGrange Park in Westchester, there's a closure of LaGrange Road, 31st to Cermak. Reported vehicle fire. 394 northbound at 8094. There's a rollover crash in the ditch. And then from there, the Bishop Ford Freeway has significant delays this morning for 115th to the Ryan. 25 minutes, I-80 to the Verge. I-57 now 20 minutes. Delays start at 107th. The Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. All clear on the Edens and the Kennedy. Inbound Eisenhower, just a little tight past Manheim. Stevenson, slow 355 to 83 in Central to Kedzie. 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Traffic service of account temps. Needed accounting and finance professionals for long-term or recurring projects? If you prefer the same professional to handle your project throughout its duration, AccountTemp's salaried professional service may be the solution. Call today or visit AccountTemps.com. AccountTemps, a Robert Half company. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Partly sunny, pleasant, less humid today. High 83, giving way to the potential of storms overnight and severe weather tomorrow. 68 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Steve Beeman Show with co-host Carol Parisi, empowering you Sunday evenings at 8 right here on AM 560.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues right now. And make sure to join me, Sean Hannity, this afternoon starting at 2 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, I would say even if you're a Trump supporter, the last 3 weeks can't be too encouraging. They have not been a very good couple 3 weeks for the campaign. In fact, I sat down and did an interview with Steve Moore, our friend Steve Moore.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be on upstream-ideas.com later this week.
Wait, what's the website?
Upstream-ideas.com. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's tattooed on your forehead.
Yeah.
Upstream Ideas-com.
That's the only way to promo it.
Yes.
Gotta always be closing. Always be closing. And even Steve said, who, he's an economic policy advisor to Trump, and he's a fan of Trump, and he kind of dismisses the never Trump movement among conservatives and libertarians and conservatarians. But he said, the last couple 3 weeks have not been good. when you have this terrible May jobs report, 38,000 jobs created, and Trump is talking about the heritage of the judge in the Trump University case instead of talking about the jobs report and Trump as a businessman being a job creator. And now you have...
It was more than that, though. I mean, his
Well,
failure
I know
to
it was more
disperse
than
those donations to the veteran charities. I thought that was a problem. I mean, his comments about the Orlando terror attack, saying everybody should be armed, even if you're drinking in a nightclub. Well, he didn't say that, but he said everybody should be armed. And I know he redacted that, but also
clarified.
He insinuated that President Obama had terrorist sympathies. Remember that tweet he put out? It's just, he needs to be controlled, and now is the time to start controlling the message.
Well, I think, yeah.
You're losing me. I mean, the latest polls, Florida, Hillary's up 7%. And Ohio and Pennsylvania is a dead heat.
Remember something about this before we get too
hyper
about polling, especially now. I would be much more concerned about the money on hand, the resources at hand, the quality of the campaign infrastructure than about polling. Because the first debate, I would tell you all the poll numbers are out the window. Whatever happens in that first debate, I think you're going to see some volatility. I think people are going to be open-minded until they see that showdown between the two, because that is going to be something, well, it is something I think that everybody's looking forward to.
Yeah, but Donald Trump keeps bragging that he has only 69 staff members compared to Hillary's 600. Well, Donald Trump, you need hundreds more. Well, you need to. This is not a primary anymore. You're in a general election, and you need boots on the ground.
Yeah, the issue.
You need help.
The issue is, I mean, there's a lot of ways to set up a business. There's a lot of ways to set up a campaign,
He's
and not
an office politician.
And Democrats and Republicans don't start with the same institutional resources. But here's this is a problem. The money is a problem. Right now, Hillary Clinton has $42 million on hand, and Donald Trump has 1.3. Now, here's an additional problem. I would say this next problem is even a bigger problem. Hillary's super PAC, Priorities USA, $52 million on hand. And the most successful super PAC for Trump in terms of fundraising to this point is the one that Ed Rollins runs called Great America. It's no relation to the amusement park. $1.4 million. That's $94 million to kind of 2.7 right now. Now, that's going to change, and they're going to raise more money, and all of that is well and good. But that is a huge deficit. And if you remember from 2012, one of the things that prevented Romney from getting a good jump start into the general election was resources after running a primary when, of course, the incumbent president didn't have a primary. So that resource deficit is a big deal. And getting the campaign structure from the senior staff level, filtering on down to the infrastructure you need, particularly in the states that you need to win, and the populations, the cross-sections of America within those states that you need to win in order to win those states. And by the way, Jerry Sieb has a great piece in the Wall Street Journal today, our friend Jerry Sieb, how an improbable Trump victory could happen. He kind of lays out very simply what the path, it seems right now, is for Trump to win. And he says maybe it's not probable, but it's certainly possible. And I agree with him. And it starts with performing better among white college-educated women, third parties sucking away some of the Hillary vote, and putting together the right set of states consistent with the demographics to which he has the greatest appeal. But the quality of the campaign you run, in addition to the quality of the candidate, it matters. And the resources that you have to run that campaign matter too. And Trump is behind right now. And perhaps this, among other reasons, a bit of a power struggle internally, is why his campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, was fired yesterday, right at the end of our show.
Right. At 9:30 in the morning, he got the phone call saying, you're done. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your service. And everybody, they seem to leave amicably.
Yeah, I mean, Lewandowski.
On both sides. Lewandowski was great. He went on CNN and MSNBC and just praised Donald Trump.
It's been so amazing. And I wouldn't change 1 second of my time with Mr. Trump other than to say thank you. It's been a great privilege and an honor.
Yeah, so Lewandowski had nothing but nice things to say, not just about Trump, Donald, but also about Ivanka, because some of the reports suggested that Ivanka and her husband were behind, in part, the push to oust Lewandowski, in addition to maybe a bit of a power struggle between Lewandowski and Paul Manafort, the consultant lobbyist that Trump had brought on, really with a focus on the possibility of a brokered convention. But now it seems that Manafort's going to take a more pronounced role and perhaps build in some of his own loyalists to run the campaign. I mean, I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this, but it is important in terms of the quality of the campaign. And Lewandowski on Ivanka Trump, despite the rumors that he was trying to shop negative stories about her husband, and Ivanka's husband were instrumental in his ouster, Lewandowski had nothing but nice things to say about Ivanka.
Ivanka Trump.
Great asset to the campaign. I mean,
Would you be surprised if you heard that she was not thrilled with the job that you were doing?
I don't think that's the case. I think Ivanka is somebody who understands her father and is a fantastic surrogate for this campaign. She brings a sense of calmness to the campaign. She has a way about her that she connects immediately, not just with women, but with business executives. She's so polished, so professional. It's been an honor to be able to work with her for the last 18 months.
Did you say he was going to shop around stories about Ivanka and her husband?
About Ivanka's husband. There were reports that Jared Kushner, who's Ivanka Trump's husband, that Lewandowski was shopping negative stories about her husband, about Kushner. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to make any sense to me. He was asked that by Dana Bash, and he flatly denied it. So
that sounds like political suicide.
Well, it wouldn't make much sense.
With Lewandowski is he let Trump be Trump. And sometimes Trump needs to be controlled, I think, and he needs to focus his energy in a certain direction. So I think that's why also, too, that they had to say.
Well, Trump said on O'Reilly last night, the campaign needs to pivot. He also had very nice things to say about Lewandowski. So as you say, the split was amicable. But here again, I have to call into question the timing of this. You have DOJ spinning, right, with the transcript issue. And rather than Trump being focused on that and focused on an administration that has or should have lost the trust of the American people on its first responsibility, our national security, we're talking about staffing changes in the Trump campaign. The timing of things, sequencing of things in a campaign matters too, and it doesn't seem like there's much discipline there. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
maybe everything is great, and so I'm here from Trump supporters. Is there anything about anything that we've said and anything you've seen over the last couple of weeks that is concerning? 312-642-5600 Turnkey.Pro answer line, or maybe this is the best of all possible worlds. Dr. Pangloss.
NBC said they didn't fire him on Sunday because it was Father's Day. And so they did it Monday morning at 9:30 as a surprise to him. He had no idea it was coming. He was completely blindsided by it.
Let's go to Tammy and Roselle. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I've quit listening to your station because I am so sick of hearing both of you.
Apparently you haven't.
Amy. Well, I don't listen to it very often. I'd rather listen to something else sometimes because I don't want to hear the bashing of Trump.
Is this what we're doing? Is talking about the campaign like this? Is this bashing Trump?
It's not the campaign. It's not what you just talked about. It's all the things that Amy says that Trump's so bad to say, like about Muslims and not letting them into the country right now until we vet them. About Trump saying about Mexicans coming through the border and stopping illegal immigration. Her kids, she doesn't want to, vote for them. If she has to, she won't bring her kids there to watch it. Grow up, Amy. This is life. And everything that Trump stands for, guns, immigration, Mexican, or anything, illegal immigration, not only Mexican, everyone that comes here illegally. I'm for it. And so are zillions of people that have voted for him. That's why he's our nominee. Republicans better start backing him so he wins. Because if you get Hillary, it's going to be a ton more worse for this country than Trump could ever be. So get on the Trump wagon.
All right, Tammy.
Help him.
Yeah.
Help him.
Thanks for the call.
If you have a beef with him, help him.
Thanks for the call, Tammy.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
So what did we learn? We need to get on the Trump bandwagon, Dan.
You're already voting for him. You're on board.
I said you're voting for the party, not the person. Okay?
That counts. We're good.
Tammy,
Your vote counts the same.
Tammy, are you listening? I'm voting for the party, not the person. Maybe. Kidding. Today, plenty of sunshine for your first full day of summer and the last day of school for those Chicago kiddies. A high of 83 degrees. Then tonight, a shower or thunderstorm late. And tomorrow, watch for some severe thunderstorms, some high winds with it. And it'll be 79 degrees. Anything dramatic on the roadways? Jim, are you on the wagon? Are you?
Depends which wagon you're talking about, Amy. Good morning. Good morning. Got problems in LaGrange Park. Police haven't confirmed this, but we have a closure of LaGrange Road between 31st and Cermak. A reported vehicle fire in that area, and traffic's been blocked off there on LaGrange Road for over an hour. Again, between 31st and Cermak, LaGrange Park in Westchester. Northbound 394, I don't know if it's dramatic, but it's a rollover crash right at 8094, and the right lane's blocked on northbound 394. The Edens and the Kennedy are still good. The inbound Eisenhower has delays, 25th Avenue to 1st Avenue. 34 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Stevenson getting heavy. 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 25 minutes from I-80 to the merge. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance. But they're also a staffing leader. They supply hand-picked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com.
Townstone Financial is synonymous with great rates, low closing costs, and phenomenal service to the thousands who have completed purchases and refinances with us since 2002. Hi, my name is Barry Sterner, owner of Townstone Financial. Let's hear from Jim, who just completed a no-cost refinance with Townstone Financial.
We went through the experience with Townstone. The experience was amazing. We had a point person that took control of the refi. The communication was specific and exactly what we needed to do. That I was never in the dark in the process. So I knew when I needed to get documents. I knew exactly what I needed. I would recommend Townstone to anybody, and I do.
Remember, nobody values your business more than Townstone Financial, and I'm always available to answer your questions. Call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2111. That's 312-896-2111. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financials, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois, mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639, equal housing lender.
There are two kinds of pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers in the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
AM 560, The Answer.
And you see the story that trickled out yesterday? A British man arrested over the weekend in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah, for trying to
assassinate Donald Trump.
Yeah, he drove from California to Vegas, and then the night before he went to a shooting range to learn how to shoot in Vegas.
He had been planning this assassination of Donald Trump for a year. He approached a Las Vegas police officer at the campaign stop at the
Treasure Island
Casino in Vegas. to say he wanted Trump's autograph, but then he tried to take the officer's weapon, and thankfully, instead, he was taken into custody. But, gee, I mean, that's pretty wild. That's pretty scary.
It's why he has Secret Service protection.
Yeah, but, I mean, if something like that happened when Barack Obama was a candidate, we'd be hearing, I think, a lot more about it than we're hearing about Trump.
Yeah, because it happened, Saturday?
Well,
and now we're hearing about it Tuesday? Or, you heard about it late last night.
Joe in Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan and Amy. Hey, I still listen to you, but I wanted to explain, I think the reason that other caller is so frustrated, and a lot of people probably are, is because, the media tends to super hype Trump's negative coverage. And, unless Hillary got the date changed, I think the election's in November, and we're still in June. And I lost count of the number of times that Trump was counted out. And just a couple of things where we get frustrated with the media and the media loses credibility is, Hillary's got $49 million, but I read a report that $20 million of that is from the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. I don't know if that report's true or not, but I think you guys need to report on stuff like that and vet it and find out whether it's true. And, Saudi Arabia, I believe that's the training camps for Islamic extremists, which she still has a lot of difficulty saying.
Joe, thanks for the call. We'll be scrutinizing Hillary, don't you worry.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing, independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mark Weingart, President and CEO of Star Creations, Inc., the fastest-growing supplier of wall decor products in the U.S. When it comes to banking, I don't want to be a small fish in a big pond. That's why I bank at Signature Bank Chicago. At Signature Bank, every customer is important. I know I can pick up the phone and talk to any one of the decision makers I know and trust at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, they understand and respond to the unique needs of my business with flexibility and fairness. I'm proud to bank with Signature Bank because I know they're deeply invested in the success of Star Creations.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You've been working hard for years to build your business. You've invested a lot of time, hard work. Things are going great. Good for you.
But in seconds, all your hard work goes up in smoke. You never really thought about maintaining your computer and network infrastructure. It always just worked. Like many businesses, you took your IT system and support, or lack thereof, for granted.
Now what? A call to your internet provider? The cable company? I don't think so. They're not going to be able to even come close to handling this problem. This is a job for Turnkey IT. Turnkey IT is a well-organized team of certified professionals that take care of things before they break and often know about problems before you do. They become an integral part of your business so you can focus on what you do best. Just like your business, it's all about having a plan and not just reacting when things start to fall apart. Talk to David or any one of the Turnkey IT pros about your plan. Go online to turnkey.pro. Turnkey.pro.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Does the state of Illinois need a Muslim American Advisory Council? At 6:06. Not kidding.
And later, Republicans selling weapons to ISIS. That's according to a few high-profile senators. Of course, they're Democrats. We'll explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a 4-year-old girl drowns in a Downers Grove pool. The investigation continues, and that pool is closed. Governor Rauner states plans to run again in 2018. The video appears to show a Chicago police officer punching a man during an arrest. Meantime, the city's top cop says a high number of shootings will continue until the state enacts tougher gun laws. We'll hear from the city's police superintendent. Cubs place Fowler on the DL, and the White Sox beat Boston. A partly sunny day ahead. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Democrats tried their way, Republicans tried theirs, and neither succeeded as gun control proposals get bogged down again at the Senate. Fox's John Decker live in Washington.
Among the measures defeated was a proposal to keep people on a government terrorism watch list from buying guns. Connecticut Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal.
Shame on you. That's what the American people are shouting at the Senate of the United States.
Also defeated was a Republican proposal that would delay a gun sale to a suspected terrorist for 72 hours. That measure was supported by the NRA's Wayne LaPierre.
It is tragic that we're not having a discussion right now of terrorism and how we protect this country.
The Senate votes deal a blow to President Obama, who had been pushing for stricter gun control after the Orlando massacre. Dave?
John, the race for the White House is neck and neck in two key states. New Quinnipiac poll has Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton tied at 40% each in Ohio. Clinton's up by 1 in Pennsylvania. The Democrat has an 8-point edge in Florida. This comes out the morning after Trump dumped his campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski.
He's a good guy. He's a friend of mine. But I think it's time now for a different kind of a campaign.
A British man remains behind bars in Nevada. Michael Sanford's attempted bail was denied. He's accused of trying to attack Trump at a Las Vegas rally Saturday. Police say he tried to grab an officer's gun, claiming he wanted to shoot and kill the presumptive Republican nominee. Two wildfires are charring foothill suburbs of Los Angeles, threatening to merge into one.
I've been here about 15 years, but haven't any fires, I guess, in these hills for about 45 years.
He's in Duarte. The fires have burned 7 square miles, forcing hundreds from their homes. Fires also keep burning in Arizona and New Mexico. In the fight to take a city back from ISIS, a senior Iraqi military commander claims they've killed 2,500 Islamic militants in Fallujah. 15% of them are foreign fighters. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
In Chicago this morning, we have mostly clear skies, sunshine, and 64 degrees. 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Mike Scott. An investigation is underway after a 4-year-old girl drowns at a West Suburban swim club. Anna Trent was found unconscious Sunday night at a pool in Downers Grove, the Downers Grove Swim and Racket Club. That pool has been closed until further notice. Chicago police are launching an investigation after a video posted online appears to show an officer punching a man following an arrest on the city's south side. Meantime, the city's police superintendent says the high number of shootings will continue until the state enacts tougher gun laws.
The Chicago Police Department is doing their part in terms of arresting people with guns. Where we're losing it is holding those repeat gun offenders accountable for what they do.
Johnson made his opinion known yesterday after taking part in a panel discussion at the City Club of Chicago. 3 teens are treated at an area hospital. They were shot early yesterday morning in Evanston in the 1700 block of Dodge. None of the injuries are life-threatening. Chicago Alderman is agreeing to a compromise in an effort to keep ride-sharing in the city after meeting with lobbyists and members of Mayor Emanuel's administration. Anthony Beal is dropping some regulations he has proposed for companies like Uber and Lyft, for example, like requiring rideshare drivers to be fingerprinted as part of the background check. The Waukegan School Board approves a New Jersey company's $3 million donation of solar panels for 7 school buildings. Project with NRG was delayed a year because of school officials' concerns about the district's liability if something happened to that equipment. White Sox nip Boston in 10, 3-1. St. Louis over the Cubs, 3-2. And there is soccer that the world will be watching tonight as the U.S. men's national team squares off with Argentina in the semifinals of Copa America Centenario in Houston tonight. The news service of Napa Auto Parts. Get Pennzoil conventional oil for just $3.39 a quart this month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. That's Napa know-how. While supplies last, General States pricing. Sale prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. 6:04, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com. Aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Personal finance is 80% behavior, 20% head knowledge.
Dave Ramsey.
The reason you're in debt is behavior, not math. The way you get out of debt is behavior, change, not math. You can't borrow your way out of debt. How many times have you heard someone say, I had a whole bunch of credit card debt and I paid it off by getting a second mortgage? You didn't pay it off. You moved it.
The Dave Ramsey Show. Weeknights starting at 7, right before Michael Medved at 10. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
Raise your hand if you think you know what identity theft is. Just kidding. This is a radio commercial. We can't tell if your hand is up. But we can tell you that if you think identity theft is when someone adds charges to your credit card, you're only partially right. Identity theft is when someone pretends to be you, to open new accounts in your name, or any number of other bad things. That's where LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a whole range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, our U.S.-based team of specialists will work to fix it. You'll get more protection with LifeLock than you get from free credit monitoring alone. Obviously, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock is the best identity theft protection available. Join LifeLock right now and get a special 15% discount off your first year. Visit LifeLock.com and use promo code 15OFF. That's 15 off to take advantage of an incredible 15% discount off your first year. Act now. Offer ends July 3rd. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code 15OFF. LifeLock.
6:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Let's get the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In LaGrange Park, LaGrange Road is still closed between 31st and Cermak after an earlier pickup truck fire. 394 northbound at 8094th. Right lane's blocked. Car in the ditch. 70 O'Hare, 190 westbound stop and go. River Road to Manheim. Kennedy itself still fairly light, looking at about 21 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. All good on the Edens, but the Eisenhower has delays. Wolf, First Avenue. 40 minutes Thorndale to downtown, outbound 30. Really heavy on the Stevenson. Delays actually start around 126. It's then an hour from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 5 to 34 minutes. Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 30 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Mission 425. Eastbound Adams Tollway, slow Elmhurst to Lee. Traffic service of LifeLock. You bank online, use public Wi-Fi. If so, your identity could be at risk. Help protect it with the best. LifeLock. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK15 for a special 15% off your first year. Offer ends July 3rd. LifeLock.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A less humid day today with partial sunshine, high of 83, partly cloudy night, low 64. Watch for severe thunderstorms tomorrow with a high 82, periods of rain and a thunderstorm at night with a low of 66. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Sunshine, 64 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Market Overdrive with Carla Mina, a power hour of real estate trends, secrets, and advice. Heard every Saturday afternoon at 1.
Good morning. Welcome to your Tuesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I think Corey's terrific, but I think it's time now for a different kind of a campaign.
It's been so amazing, and I wouldn't change 1 second of my time with Mr. Trump other than to say thank you.
The other thing that jumps out in the transcript is that his pledge of allegiance to ISIS and its leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was not a one-off. So he really declares himself very effectively as a follower of the Islamic State.
Under President Obama, you're not to make any reference that could possibly indict Islam, and it exposes the administration as fanatical in trying to cover up and hide the connection with Islam.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I'll get back to Trump because he's got a big meeting with evangelical Christian leaders today in New York City. So we'll get to that in a moment. But,
and Hillary Clinton, she has her big economic speech today where she's going to talk about raising the minimum wage and equality for everybody. She's trying to get Bernie Sanders supporters.
Stop it. You're putting me to sleep.
Okay.
I'm trying to stay up. But locally, what do you make of this? And don't say you can make a brooch or a pterodactyl. There is a piece of legislation that has been sent to the governor's desk.
I love pending legislation. That was the name of my high school band. Pending legislation. I don't know if you.
Yeah,
familiar with
that was a Bananarama cover band, right?
It was, actually.
Yeah. That's good. I like that.
Thank you.
The pending legislation, non-Amy's band, but in Illinois, would create a 21-member Illinois Muslim American Advisory Council.
Oh, really? And what would this advisory council do?
Muslims leaders in Illinois said it would send a welcoming message to Muslims. And the governor and legislative leaders would appoint members to the council. Given all that is going on with the misinterpretation about Islam and the interests and concerns of the Muslim American community, it's almost obligatory on behalf of a governor of this state and all governors to have such a body, said Kareem Irfan, a Chicago lawyer who led an earlier version of such a council under previous Governor Pat Quinn. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I mean, beyond even the discussion of the priorities of the governor and the General Assembly in the worst run state in the nation by a wide margin, what just in a vacuum, the propriety of such a body, of such an idea. By the way, this was passed with bipartisan support. In the Senate, it passed 43-4. In the House, it passed 83-17. So most Republicans are on this as well.
This is going to make it all better because this just feels like feel-good legislation because it's right to do this at the time. If the Muslim community was upset about all these terrorist attacks and these homegrown terrorists, they would be more forthcoming. They would have marches. And I know people like, oh, what's a march going to do? It's going to show that they're denouncing this. Where's the anger? God, I mean, think about it, Dan. If Catholics were doing what some radical Muslims were doing, wouldn't the Catholics form a solidarity and let their voices be heard that this is wrong and sick and you're not part of that?
Yeah, I mean...
I'm not feeling it. Is this advisory council for Muslims going to make it all better?
I think
ISIS is going to go away now.
I think it's worse than a feel-good measure. I think it is a concession by Republicans, as per usual, which is why Republicans are in the super minority in the state, despite the fact that Chicago Democrats have dominated the state for 30 years and the city for 100 years and destroyed both economically. Despite that, Republicans find themselves in the super minority because they concede identity politics to the left. And this is another example of that. Should we have advisory councils on, for every faith tradition, for every ethnicity? I don't see the need for this. I don't see the need for any formal body. I don't see the need. Frankly, the idea that it's almost obligatory. I don't know where this Chicago lawyer Kareem Irfan gets off. Almost obligatory to have an advisory council of Muslims. For what? I mean, here's an idea. Here's what we're going to do in Illinois. So we can dispense with. I mean, I'm all for citizen participation in government. Maybe the participation can be directed more productive rather than kind of window dressing type ways. Here's what we're going to do to allay all the concerns. We're going to treat everybody equally before the law. How about that? We can disband the advisory councils now.
Can you help me out? What exactly does one do when they're on an advisory council?
I mean,
do they get paid to be on the advisory council?
I don't believe this would be a paid position. I think the issue is just you're enlisted. It can be something that the governor and legislative leaders use for a particular end or a particular issue. They can engage or not engage as much as they want. I mean, there's no kind of formality in terms of roles and responsibilities. I guess these councils would try and come up with a strategic plan that would provide meaning to the body. But you're going to meet once a month. They're going to talk amongst yourselves. You'll make some recommendations to the governor or to the General Assembly or to both. And that's all well and good, I suppose. But the whole notion of kind of identity politics is really part of what has poisoned the political culture in Illinois and what we exported to D.C. to poison the political culture nationally, with Chicago Democrats in charge of both. And this is just furtherance of it. So I'm not on board.
Do you think Governor Rauner's going to sign?
I hope he doesn't. I don't know what he's going to do. Mike in Stone Park here on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Hey, see, I'm taking a different look at this, and I'm thinking that they do need to form this council, and then they can explain to the incoming Muslims, these are our rules here, this is how we do it here, and if you don't like it, see ya. This is what we do. And that should be the purpose of a council like that.
Well,
not to tell us how they're going to do it.
Well, thanks for the call, Mike. I mean, I agree with that, but how about, like I said before, just the proclamation that these are the laws and everybody has to follow them regardless of your gender, ethnicity, faith, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, is it the state's responsibility, that we figure out who the enemies are among the Muslim American community?
Enlisting allies with respect to security at a state and local level in addition to a federal level, yeah, that makes sense. But having kind of a broad advisory council because we need somebody to help us. I mean, this is Barbara Billingsley, a stewardess. I speak jive. We need somebody to help us translate to the Muslim community. I'm all for allies within all communities, but to formalize it, because I can't talk to someone of the Muslim faith, someone who's Muslim, someone of the Islamic faith, without counsel as an intermediary. If I'm the governor or a state legislator, no, I don't think so. I can talk to him. I'm happy to talk to him. We have to complicate this with layers and layers of ancillary, often counterproductive bureaucracy as a way to kind of offer a sop to identity politics. That's what this is. That's what it just gets back to. Joan in Lake County, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi. Yeah, who introduced this? This to me, it's just another group to muddy everything we don't do well anyway. Yeah. I like your idea. Treat everybody the same.
Yeah, I only have the roll call votes in front of me.
Co-sponsor of the bill was Democratic Senator Jacqueline Collins.
Oh, Jackie Collins from
Jackie
Chicago.
Collins, yeah.
Okay, so there's one.
There's one.
Bad idea.
Yeah, well, yeah, thanks for the call, Joan. Appreciate it. Bad idea. And
a bad idea coming out of Illinois.
Oh, right, exactly. Well,
out of Springfield?
General Assembly is the incubator of bad ideas.
Can I get you something?
Some mofo butter laying me to the bone, jacking me up. Tight me.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Cuddy say can't hang.
Oh, stewardess, I speak jive.
Oh, good.
He said that he's in great pain and he wants to know if you can help him.
All right, would you tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine.
Just hang loose, blood. She's gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
What it is, Big Mama? My mama raised no dummies. I duck a rap.
Cut me some slack, Jack.
This is
the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Donald Trump meets with evangelicals today. What will get accomplished? That story coming up. But first, today our forecast is just gorgeous. Plenty of sunshine already. This is your first full day of summer and a high of 83 degrees, less humid than yesterday. Tonight, some changes rolling through here. We're going to have some showers and thunderstorms. And tomorrow, watch for some severe thunderstorms, bringing with it some high winds, a high of 79 degrees. Let's get those travel times. Here's Jim Delamonte.
Thanks, Amy. At Dan LaGrange Park, LaGrange Road is closed still between 31st and Cermak after a pickup truck fire. West Chicago, North Avenue has a couple of lanes blocked at Prince Crossing after a collision involving a car and a dump truck. Edens, 20 minutes Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy, 25 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound now 25 as well. Eisenhower's a 42-minute drive from Thorndale to the post office. Hop on 31, Stevenson's heavy. Delay started around 126, and it's an hour and 10 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. 50 minutes from the Tri-State. Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound, the express lanes are closed from the Stevenson to 31st due to a crash. 8094 eastbound on the ramp to southbound I-65, there's a crash. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I've always believed that the best conversations happen with a fine cigar in one hand and a mature beverage in the other. Well, on Thursday, August 11th, Dennis Prager and I will be getting together for a cigar night. It's happening at the Bolingbrook Golf Club and is presented by Precision Payroll of America. Tom Sadeka, good man. Join us for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. If you've seen any of the Against the Current interviews I've done at upstream-ideas.com, then you'll know what this event will look like. Tickets start at $29, and every ticket includes a cigar. Everyone who attends will have a chance to meet Dennis Prager and have him sign copies of his books. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Or you can text the word cigar to 64636. Sponsored by Signature Bank and the Elmhurst Cigar House.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Hello, everyone, and here we go again with Karen Lewis and the Chicago Teachers Union demanding more money from the Chicagoland taxpayers. Well, I say enough is enough. The teachers get paid from the property taxes that homeowners pay every year. If the teachers union gets more money, that means your property taxes are going to go higher. This is Tom Mirabali, your health insurance advocate and independent representative for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other health insurance carriers. For months now, I have been telling you about purchasing health savings account PPO plans that will cost you approximately 40% less in monthly premiums than you're currently paying now. Well, the same thing applies to the teachers union. I can show the union that they can purchase a more comprehensive health insurance plan that is in full compliance with the Affordable Care Act and will cost the taxpayers up to 40% less in monthly health insurance premiums. For more information, you can call me at 630-863-3477. That's 630-863-3477.
Hey, Sean Hannity here to talk about the importance of our Second Amendment rights and the importance of protecting your family. Now, in order to do that, well, you need the proper equipment and training from DS Arms. Now, as an actual manufacturer of AR-15 and FN-FAL type rifles, they also stock major brands of firearms, including handguns and every accessory imaginable for self-defense, target shooting, and hunting. Now, ladies, you can get basic and advanced training in a family-friendly environment with your girlfriends, loved ones, or even mom. And you can get certified for your concealed carry license. Everything is provided, including a firearm, for only $225, which is a small price to pay for your safety and the safety of your family and your loved ones. Now, for custom rifles made in America by a real manufacturer or concealed carry firearms training classes with top firearms and trainers will make DS Arms your team. DS Arms, much more than a gun store. Now, they're simple to reach in Lake Barrington, just off of Route 14 and Pepper Road. Call now, 847-277-7260. Or check them out online at dsarms.com.
Ameritrust Mortgage is the one-stop mortgage shop. Buy or refinance. VA, FHA, and conventional. A local company. Ameritrust Mortgage is your one-stop mortgage shop.
This is Barbara Walters, president of Ameritrust. For any mortgage, call us. We know our business and we get you to the finish line fast. We don't use voicemail. You get to talk to a real live person, and when you do, you'll find out how easy it can be to get the mortgage done and how much you will save. Your loan is processed in-house. Our staff underwriters approve your loan. Ameritrust closes your loan with Ameritrust funds. Ameritrust is a mortgage banker. Our loans are never funded by a third-party end-line investor. We are the one-stop mortgage shop. We also have options that will give you a choice, paying closing costs or not paying any costs. Choose what's best for you.
Ameritrust Mortgage. Call 815-459-7303 right now and compare. You'll get the lowest quote fast because they make the decisions. 815-459-7303. Or go to am560myhome.com.
You're unique, so why is your mattress one size fits all? Because a custom mattress costs thousands, until now. Hi, I'm Christian von Rickenbach, founder of HelixSleep.com, where you can buy a mattress online, customized for you, for hundreds of dollars instead of thousands. Go to HelixSleep.com, answer a few simple questions, and we build you the most comfortable mattress you'll ever sleep on. Shipping is free, and you have 100 nights to try it out. Go to HelixSleep.com/try now and get $50 off your order. HelixSleep.com/try now.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for help getting free medication, if available and eligible. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so Donald Trump is meeting with hundreds of evangelical leaders in New York City today. And this turns out to potentially be it's an important meeting for him, regardless. But I think with the campaign shakeup and how that shakes out for Trump and his electoral prospects, this meeting today takes on even more importance than it would otherwise. And
does he have the support of the evangelical community?
Well, he does, and frankly, he did in the primary when they had 16 other choices. He consistently won pluralities of evangelical voters in many of the states that he won, and the increased importance I think this meeting takes on is if he is having problems building infrastructure, campaign infrastructure in the states that he needs to win, if he's not getting the support from the party or from Republican candidates in those states that are running for federal offices and state offices, from governors in those states, then you know what? One way that he can, be true to his word and do it without the Republican Party is if he has evangelicals and other faith-based voters fill in the gaps and be grassroots activists for Trump. So, I think that should be part of the appeal that he makes. And it's interesting. We talked about this in the primary because there is so much upon which Trump is at odds with evangelical voters, or certainly has historically been. And I don't know how you necessarily can completely trust him on a range of issues that are important to faith-based voters. But the thing that seemed to tip the scales for evangelical voters, like so many Republican primary voters, is, I don't like some of the things he says, and I don't like some of the ways he says those things, and I don't trust him on everything, but I feel like he is going to protect me. He projects strength, Trump does, in an era where both parties are surrendering to forces that intend to do me harm, whether it's with respect to my religious liberty or whether it's respect to my personal safety. And that, I think, is the Trump appeal. That's Trump's strongest position. That's the place he needs to get back to in this campaign. And I think that's potentially the foundation for the appeal he can make to evangelicals to do some of the heavy lifting they might not otherwise be inclined to do, but he's going to need them to do if the party establishment, so to speak, is still fractured.
Is he meeting with them today, or is he speaking in front of them?
He's meeting with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's going to be no speech. He's just going to closed-door meeting?
Well, there may be a combination of the two, but, he is having a closed-door meeting with evangelical leaders to talk about the campaign, and he is really going to need, I think, to lean on them, particularly between now and the convention. I think he would do well to have a strong statement coming out of that meeting, and for evangelical leaders to provide him with a strong statement coming out of that meeting to start to turn the narrative away from what it has been for the Trump campaign for the past 3 weeks.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I have struggled with irritable bowel syndrome for 40 years. Really struggled with it. And I want you to know that since I have been taking Balance of Nature, I don't have it anymore. After 40 years, I'm 75 years old, and after 40 years of struggling with this, and, early on taking all kinds of medication and this, that, and the other thing, back in October, I was able to cancel my appointment with the gastroenterologist. Your products have made my life, they have improved the quality of my life so tremendously. I can't be grateful enough. So please thank you all, and please, if you ever have a chance to, please thank Dr. Howard.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Many of you own or manage growing companies, and you know that your entire business depends on your phones. If your phone service provider struggles to deliver your calls, it can mean lost revenue. It's often the case with an outdated phone system. The solution? Well, it's a company that we use here at AM 560, Innovative Networks. They excel at providing innovative solutions to reinforce your company's phone infrastructure and enhance call flow. We truly appreciate how comprehensive, diligent, and cost-effective Innovative Networks was in providing solutions that scale as our business expands. Innovative Networks can even replace your outdated phone system at no cost and provide hands-on training to maximize your capabilities. You'll save money and be more focused on growing your business. Here at AM 560, we're thrilled with Innovative Networks, so follow our lead and call Innovative Networks at 312-453-7777. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Call 312-453-7777 or visit go4inet.com. That's go, the number 4INET, phonehome.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, which Senate Democrat blames Republicans for selling weapons to ISIS? We'll give you the answer. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Partly sunny skies, 65 degrees. Authorities say a man arrested at a Donald Trump rally in Las Vegas over the weekend was hoping to kill the Republican presidential candidate. Michael Sandford was arrested after he tried to grab a police officer's gun. Hillary Clinton set to blast Donald Trump's economic approach. The likely Democratic presidential nominee scheduled to go after Trump today during a speech in Columbus, Ohio. The Justice Department now turning over the full transcript of the Orlando shooter's calls to 911.
We currently have no evidence that he was directed by a foreign terrorist group, but was radicalized domestically. The killer stated that he had an explosive device, but none was found.
Initially on Monday, the Justice Department and FBI only released a partial transcript of the 911 calls. Tighter gun control measures going nowhere in the U.S. Senate. The debate led by California Democrat Barbara Boxer.
We did nothing. No action. When is it finally going to happen? When we're going to do something.
Democrats forced votes yesterday on 2 amendments to expand background checks and prevent terror suspects from being able to buy guns after the deadly terror shootings in Orlando. An experimental Zika vaccine is ready for testing on humans. The FDA has given Inovio Pharmaceuticals the green light to begin human testing. The car that rolled into and killed actor Anton Yelchin is under recall for gear shift problems. Authorities say Yelchin's 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee rolled backwards Sunday, crushing him between the SUV and a gate. An investigation is underway after a 4-year-old girl drowned at a West Suburban racket club in Downers Grove. Governor Rauner says, yes, he plans to run for office again in 2018. And a Chicago alderman is agreeing to compromises in an effort to keep ride-sharing like Uber and Lyft in the city. White Sox beat Boston in 10-3-1. Cardinals over the Cubs 3-2. And the news, a service of LifeLock. Do you bank online if you use public Wi-Fi? If so, your identity could be at risk. Help protect it with the best. LifeLock. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK15 for a special 15% off your first year. Offer ends July 3rd. LifeLock.com. 6:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher reacts to the Orlando terrorist attack.
There's got to be some common ground here between looking the other way, turning a blind eye to somebody who might very well do what this monster, this savage, this horrible terrorist did, and appreciating and accepting those Muslims who aren't willing to support or condone this in any way, shape, or form.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
GoDaddy gives you the tools, service, and know-how to make you go. No wonder millions of businesses and people go with GoDaddy. Go you. GoDaddy.
Hey, if you're a real estate professional or considering a career in real estate, I have an exciting new opportunity for you. It's a unique revenue and profit sharing model which allows you to gain partnership equity and experience a quality of life unmatched in the industry. Hi, I'm Mark Whittington with Inspire Realty Partners, and we believe it's time real estate professionals had an opportunity to build equity ownership and earn higher commissions. After all, do you know a retired real estate agent? Imagine having ownership equity and working toward building a retirement income stream. Inspire Realty Partners is a rapidly expanding team of like-minded professionals with a mission to elevate the level of service and provide a better experience for buyers and sellers. Our special program servicing veterans, first responders, educators, and their families has created an extra demand for quality associate partners. If you're interested in learning how you can become inspired, visit our career-specific website, joininspire.com. Again, that's joininspire.com.
CertaPro painters are here for every stage of your life, from moving into a new home, creating the ideal nursery, to reinventing your living space. CertaPro painting experts create the perfect setting while you do life. They came to our home and brightened our walls and our moods so very quiet they wouldn't wake a baby. But the best part? They clean up after themselves so you don't have to do it. And now that spring is here, it is the perfect time to spruce up your home's exterior. Take a look at your home. Do you see chipping, peeling, fading? Well, leave it to CertaPro painting experts to refresh, renew, and protect your biggest investment, your home. Now is the time to call for your free estimate and schedule your exterior painting project. 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA. That's CERTA with a C. Or visit CertaPro.com today, CertaPro.com. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
6:36 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On 294, the northbound tri-state, it's very heavy early this morning. From 115th to the Hinsdale Oasis, and it's also very slow from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. And the Reagan Tollway is heavy delays. First from the Aurora Toll to Eola, and especially from Highland to the Eisenhower. Edens is 25 minutes, like Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. Kennedy, 36 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. The Eisenhower's 50 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 39. Stevenson, an hour and 10 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 35 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishopford, 30. Traffic is a service of Napa Auto Parts. This month, Mobil One full synthetic oil is only $5.99 a quart at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. That's Napa know-how. While supplies last, General States pricing, sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, partly sunny, pleasant, less humid, high 83, currently 65. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So I was just talking to Mike Scott in the break about this. Who do you think knows less about guns, the D.C. press corps or the United States Senate? I mean, that is a...
Oh, you know what? That's a
tough
toss-up.
Call. It's stiff. It's a stiff competition.
And if someone in the media does shoot or no one talks about it, it's kind of like on the down low.
And you see, and Mike Scott and I were talking about it too, you see like images presented on news broadcasts and talk shows, and they'll mischaracterize like a 12-gauge shotgun as an automatic rifle. I mean, they just have no idea what they're talking about. They think AR-15, like as in one of these assault rifles that the left wants banned to make themselves feel better about themselves. They think it stands for automatic rifle. It stands for Armalite rifle, which was the designer of the weapon. It's fascinating to me, not just the level of ignorance, but also the indifference to their ignorance. There is no intellectual curiosity among a wide swath of politicians, as well as a wide swath of members of the Washington and Chicago press corps to know what they're talking about.
One time I did a story about a shooting club in Northwest Indiana. You know, it was one of those special reports.
Yeah.
And I did a stand-up shooting a 9mm. And I made the target, and we, took this exam. It was a test.
That was
skill.
That was like a William Tell thing where you put an apple on Warner Saunders' head and you shot it off.
You know what? I did it.
I
though.
remember that story.
No. And I came back and we produced the whole story, spent hours on it, played it for the news director, and she was horrified. She said, "What the HE double hockey sticks are you doing with a gun in your hand?"
Watch your language.
And I said, "Well, I had a weapon. I owned a .38 Special in Tucson and El Paso, and."
Hold on loosely
And
to that
she
38
said-
Special.
Thank you. Don't let go. If you cling too tight, babe, you're going to lose control. Anywho, and she cut that out of the spot right away. Didn't talk to me for a week. I thought I was going to get fired, and I'm not even kidding you.
And that news
Because
director's name was Katie Couric.
No,
Oh.
no, her name was. People who know her name, but she's
Yes.
not in the business
Those
anymore. But I
people.
mean, she was so offended. I mean, she's like, well, young girls look up to you. And I said, yeah, it's great. It's my Second Amendment right to bear arms. What's wrong? And I mean, honestly, I thought I was going to lose my job. And then I went swimming in Plainfield years later. But at the time, I thought that was going to be the
Yeah.
nail in my coffin.
Oh.
Was that just for, it is my right to bear arms. And I was a former shooter, and I nailed it, by the way. So, booyah. Mm-hmm. Thanks.
All
So
right.
the ignorance of the media and guns, of course they don't know. And then they go into
No, but it's not-
but they're there when the police show off this, the cache of weapons that they recovered, and they look so sinister, and they show these double barrel extended magazines. This is what the gangbangers are using, and yes, some gangbangers do use assault rifles or assault weapons when they're out shooting, and they're horrible shots, and all these innocent bystanders get killed.
Well, right, and as we know from experts who do know who don't bask in their own ignorance, a lot of deer rifles have more stopping power than an AR-15. To just focus on the AR-15 because it was misidentified by so many people in the media as one of the weapons that the Orlando killer used, turned out to be a Sig Sauer. But
they don't familiarize themselves with guns because they're scared of them.
Well, but the other, and this isn't talked about. Then the other, he also just had a 9mm Glock.
Yeah,
which is so. And of course, the percentage when you think about violent crime, the percentage of violent crimes committed with anything resembling some of the guns they want to ban to make themselves feel good, to quote unquote do something, as Barbara Boxer said. Used in less than 3% of violent crimes in this country. Of course, handguns used in many more. So why is there not an effort to focus on the order of magnitude of the threat if the threat is guns and go right after handguns and ban handgun ownership? Oh, yeah, because that's not politically popular. So it's really cynical and craven, as you would expect it to be from the D.C. ruling class and, frankly, the D.C. press corps. But the thing that is the most interesting to me is the indifference to their ignorance. They don't want to know. They have a narrative, and that's what they're going to stick to. And anything that would undermine that narrative is just dismissed out of hand. It's what the response is to repeat the narrative. It's really just quite a staggering thing for people who pretend to be serious about representing their constituents, about trying to advance public safety. They're doing none of those things. And this is where there's an opportunity for people who are a little bit more knowledgeable and have a little bit more courage, perhaps, to demonstrate it by redirecting the focus of our national dialogue on terrorism, which is where it belongs, rather than on picking and choosing certain weapons capriciously to obsess about, or even some of the kind of no-fly, no-buy sloganeering that's going on in the U.S. Senate.
Did you hear, though, that Republicans are selling weapons to ISIS? I mean, Senator Chris Murphy, one of the, he was one of the authors of one of the 4 gun control measures that failed in the Senate yesterday, said this to the Washington Post, and this is 2 hours before they took to the Senate floor. Quote, "We've got to make this clear that Republicans have decided to sell weapons to ISIS. That's what they've decided to do. ISIS has decided that the assault weapon is the new airplane, and Republicans, in refusing to close the terror gap, refusing to pass bans on assault weapons, are allowing these weapons to get in the hands of potential lone wolf attackers. We've got to make this connection and make it in very stark terms." And then to make it worse, Senator Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas, as Trump calls her.
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
That's Mark Steinism.
She retweeted, and she tweeted this at Chris Murphy, Connecticut, said it right, that Senate GOP have decided to sell weapons to ISIS.
You know, I mean,
how ignorant and stupid is that?
Well, it's fascinating. I mean, when you make a statement like that, what does it tell you? It tells you that there's no substantive case to be made for the position I hold. That's why I have to demagogue the issue. That's why I have to say something as ridiculous as Republicans have decided to sell weapons to ISIS. That is that is an astounding statement. And Chris Murphy should be pressed on it. And in addition to that, if the Washington Press Corps were anything approximating intellectually honest, which of course they're not, they would go to every senator. They don't need to go to Elizabeth Warren since she already echoed it. Every other Democrat senator, rep, governor. Do you believe what Chris Murphy said? Because if a Republican said something as outlandish, that's exactly what would happen. Everybody would have to answer for it. Every time a Republican says something outlandish, every Republican in the nation has to weigh in on it. Well, what about this statement? I mean, it's very much like Karen Lewis, the Chicago Teachers Union CEO, when she said that ISIS's new recruit is Bruce Rauner.
Yeah.
And where's why Rahm and Madigan and Cullerton and everyone else? Where are they in terms of being called on the carpet to respond to that, to answer for those kind of comments?
They don't.
I mean,
and then Rahm Emanuel says, Donald Trump and Bruce Rauner, he's a surrogate for Donald Trump, which is not true either.
ISIS recruit.
Mm-hmm.
Republicans have decided to sell weapons to ISIS. This also coming, ironically, of course, the irony visited upon us, lost on them, from the regime that provided weapons to Mexican drug cartels, Fast and Furious. That actually happened, and provided $150 billion to the Iranians to develop nuclear weapons. And because Republicans don't want to resuscitate an ineffectual, quote-unquote, assault weapon ban from more than a decade ago that sunsetted after a decade to no great effect in terms of public safety, they're selling weapons to ISIS? Is that measured? I want to hear, and I would love to hear from some of our left friends who listen to the show. So you should ask your Cackle Caucus members in Lakeview about comments like this.
I have to wake them up and tell them what happened while they were sleeping.
It's very much like
that Republicans are selling weapons to ISIS. A senator told me so. It's got to be true.
It's very much like the Trump assassination attempt. This young Brit who was arrested trying to grab a Las Vegas police officer's gun and assassinate Donald Trump, had planned the assassination attempt for more than a year. This happened over the weekend to not much fanfare reporting. I mean, AP reported it, but it's not something we're talking about.
It came out yesterday.
What
it
was
breaking news, and it happened Saturday.
What would have been the response had Hillary Clinton been the target?
It would have been right away. It would have been instant.
It would have been more than that. It would have been instant, and it would have been Donald Trump's rhetoric created the climate that led to someone trying to take out Hillary Clinton. That's what it would have been. Trump, a literal assassination attempt against Donald Trump. This is serious stuff.
He even trained the day before to learn how to shoot a firearm.
And so I just want you to kind of play that scenario out in your mind, knowing how the respective sides respond and how the media covers those responses. Republicans have decided to sell weapons to ISIS. That is United States Senator from Connecticut, Chris Murphy. Will in the loop. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Will.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, you're on.
Good. Listen, you guys were talking about earlier how, like, if some of the Muslim community was upset with the way things were going, they would stand and together in unity, saying how they don't believe in what's going on and whatnot. I have 3 deployments. I will tell you this: there is no such thing as a moderate Muslim. They all believe the same thing. They all believe that infidels should be killed, that homosexuals should be headed, people should be stoned. That is how they are. There is no moderate Muslim. They want to watch the world burn.
Thanks for the call, Will. I mean, in where you were deployed, that's largely the case. There's no question. Mike on the north side.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I want to ask all your liberal friends, since I don't have any liberal friends, what good would more gun laws do? Tony Bullwinkle and Tom Fart would just let him out of county jail, and the police superintendent, Eddie Munster, would be giving out his cell phone number to all the criminals.
Thanks for the call, Mike. Al in Evanston, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to agree that it's absolutely ludicrous that Senators Murphy and Warren are going to get on the Senate floor and say that Republicans are selling weapons to ISIS. Not only is that so dumb, they're so willfully ignorant that they won't even realize or tell people that Obama and Clinton gave actual weapons to Syrian rebels, many of whom became ISIS, and they're now using them to create a caliphate and rain terror on the whole region. It's completely backward. It's completely ridiculous. And
excellent.
You hit it right on the head.
Thanks for the call. Excellent point. That's another prime example. Thanks, Al.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Let's drug test the wealthy. Dan will explain because he's wealthy. Yeah, well, with knowledge. Not in your golf game, though. Hey-oh, and if you are thinking about playing golf, today would be the day to do it. It's picture perfect out there for your first full day of summer. Less humid, too, a high of 83 degrees. Then tonight into tomorrow, we're going to have some severe showers and thunderstorms, bringing with it high winds. Tomorrow, a high only in the upper 70s. Any drama on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, traffic's in the rough, that's for sure, on the Eisenhower now, with heavy delays St. Charles to the Tri-State, Amy and Dan. And then from Wolf to Kedzie, it is an hour and 15 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, a full hour from Mannheim. Outbound 49 minutes to Thorndale. The Stevenson's no picnic either. Delays start at 126, then once you get to 355, it's an hour and 15 minutes to Lakeshore Drive and 55 minutes from the Tri-State, outbound 40 minutes to 355. The Edens is now 30 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Kennedy, 40 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 45. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to the Loop, outbound now okay. Northbound Tri-State stop and go from 115th to the Hinsdale Oasis. There's also a right lane blockage at 87th with the car fire. Very slow from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. The Reagan Tollway has heavy delays, 31 to Eola and Highland to the Eisenhower. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Another day in Washington for Janet Yellen. Gun manufacturers awaiting a court ruling. Concert vouchers for some Ticketmaster customers. Those stories next.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. What if you could store your IRA or 401k where you can see, touch, and hold it in person in the form of physical gold and silver coins? I know I would, and you can't do that with stocks. With the Augusta Gold and Silver IRA, you can transfer retirement savings into physical coins and store them where you can actually see them. Free shipping, zero management fees, and Augusta pays all upfront costs. Getting started is absolutely free. Rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Enjoys a 98% 5-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call toll-free 1-855-222-6993 now for your free guide to Augusta Gold IRAs. Call toll-free 1-855-222-6993. That's 1-855-222-6993 or visit AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
Fresh from last week's declaration, there won't be any changes on interest rates this month. Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen delivers her semi-annual testimony before the U.S. Senate Banking Committee. No ruling from the judge in a Connecticut court hearing on whether Remington should be held accountable for selling semi-automatic rifles. Families of victims in the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre want Remington's money. Following a class action lawsuit over fees, people who bought tickets through Ticketmaster between 1999 and early 2013 could be eligible for free ticket vouchers to upcoming events. Please join me tonight for an exclusive interview with Donald Trump on Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
All right, let's get right to the point. Thousands of listeners have bought my pillows, and if you're not one of the cool kids, why not? If for no other reason than you haven't changed your pillow in the last couple of years, now would be a great time. Your pillows absorb
Are you ready? Dead skin, dirt, skin oils, dust mites, that can cause allergies, acne, asthma, and who knows what else. So you really deserve a washable MyPillow. It comes with a 10-year warranty, and it's a great health investment. Best of all, you'll get your best night's sleep ever. I know I do. I'm addicted to mine. And the pillow is the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. So visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Use the promo code AMY, A-M-Y, for the 2 for the price of 1 deal. Give one as a gift. Keep one for yourself. Do it now, 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code AMY.
World, say hello to some old friends. It's been a long time, but they remember you. They're my toes, and they've been hidden ever since I got nail fungus. Yeah, nail fungus. I know, embarrassing, right? Really ugly stuff that I just couldn't get rid of. Tried several doctors, took pills, creams, even considered surgery. Of course, with that, you lose your nail, and there's no guarantee that the fungus won't come back. So I tried Clear Touch. Clear Touch is a little handheld device you use at home. It's painless because it uses light. Yes, light to travel fast and deep. I can't believe I went so long hiding my toes when this simple, inexpensive solution was waiting right there at Clear Touch. Clear Touch is even cleared by the FDA because it's safe and works. Yeah, my toes saw the light. So, world, I'd appreciate it if you could pass the word about Clear Touch, the phototherapy solution that works. Call 800-279-7573. That's 800-279-7573. That's 800-279-7573 or cleartouchnails.com.
I'm Dan Proft with an Upstream idea brought to you by the Illinois Opportunity Project. 27. Illinois state employees, on average, receive total compensation 27% higher than their private sector counterparts. State employees made nearly $4,000 more in wages and $13,000 in benefits than private sector employees. More than half of state workers will retire before the age of 60 with a guaranteed state pension. The state is in a financial death spiral with ground impact imminent. So keep this in mind as Governor Bruce Rauner breaks off contract talks with AFSCME, the state's largest public sector union. AFSCME has been unwilling to give on its demands for annual step increases of 3.8%, in addition to annual general wage increases. The lowball estimate of the cost of what AFSCME demands is $1.6 billion. That's $1.6 billion more from Illinois families who already pay the highest property taxes in the nation. This is Governor Rauner's moment of truth. He ran for office saying he is not a politician. He said he is a businessman who will make the difficult decisions to turn around the state he loves. We're about to find out if that's true. For more Upstream ideas, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560. The Answer.
If you're serious about selling your home, now's the time. Supply is low, and it's a great seller's market in many Chicagoland neighborhoods. This is Michael Medved, and I've done some research, and along with my Salem radio colleagues Mike Gallagher and Dennis Prager, we all recommend that you call Saul. Saul Z and the Z team are so good that if they don't sell your home in 59 days, they'll sell it for free. Guaranteed. Saul is ranked 106 out of 1.2 million agents by the Wall Street Journal. His proven marketing system is so effective that he sells on average a home every single day. Now, he does it by attracting multiple full-price offers that increase demand and help sell your home fast and at the highest price. It's a no-brainer. If I were selling a home in Chicagoland, I'd call Saul. Go online to callsaul.net. That's callsaul, S-A-U-L.net. Or call Saul now at 888-346-0666. That's callsaul.net or 888-346-0666. You'd better call Saul.
Now that spring has arrived, it's likely you're looking forward to the warmer weather. But if you're a business owner, facilities manager, or maintenance engineer, you risk the same potential problem every year. A complete system failure. In fact, up to half of all commercial air conditioning units fail upon startup each season due to the lack of regular maintenance and repair. Let the professionals at Air Comfort make a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system before there's a problem. A poorly operating air conditioning system results in uneven temperatures and humidity problems, leading to unhealthy mold and mildew growth. Don't compromise your business's overall air quality. Schedule today with Air Comfort. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Even if you're under contract with another provider, let Air Comfort provide your second opinion. After all, there's a reason why hundreds of businesses have trusted Air Comfort with their mechanical maintenance for more than 80 years. That's Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Defense Secretary Ash Carter makes the connections that President Obama and Attorney General Lynch don't at 7:07.
And later, Dr. John Lott Jr. will be here, author
and gun rights activist. But first, into the newsroom we go and say hello once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching right now. A 4-year-old girl drowns in a Downers Grove pool. That pool closed, and we have developments related to that investigation. Chicago police are also launching an investigation after a video posted online appears to show an officer punching a man during an arrest on the city's south side. Aldermen are making changes to a proposed ride-sharing ordinance. Cubs are placing Dexter Fowler on the DL while the White Sox edge Boston in 10. And a partly sunny day ahead. WIND Chicago News Times, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony.
He didn't say, hey, you're fired. It wasn't like an episode of The Apprentice.
Corey Lewandowski, the morning after Donald Trump dumped him as campaign manager.
I'm going to be there to support him, whether it's an internal position or it's an external position, or I just tell my neighbors, make sure you vote.
Trump says Lewandowski was a great guy, but is making changes as the presumptive Republican nominee shifts to the general election campaign.
Hillary Clinton will spend $1 billion of Wall Street money and money from the Middle East.
Trump says he doesn't want to do that. Clinton plans a big speech on the economy today, though in a new CNN poll, more voters think Trump would handle economic issues better than her. Still, the Democrat has a 47-42 overall lead nationally. A different poll shows it's a closer race in 2 key states. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
The latest Quinnipiac University swing state poll shows that Hillary Clinton has opened an 8-point lead over Republican Donald Trump in Florida. She's tied with Trump in Ohio and leads by 1 point in Pennsylvania. By wide margins, voters in all 3 states say Clinton is better prepared than Trump to be president. All 3 polls show that a significant percentage of voters remain undecided. The swing state poll focuses on Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania because since 1960, no candidate has won the presidential race without taking at least 2 of these 3 states. Dave?
John, at the Senate.
Republicans are just about as phony as anyone could be.
Democratic leader Harry Reid, after 2 of his party's gun control proposals failed, one to expand background checks, another to ban anyone on a terror watch list from getting a gun. A GOP alternative to delay sales to potential terror suspects also came up short.
My colleagues, in many ways, want to treat the symptoms without fighting the disease.
Senator John Cornyn and Republicans say the focus on guns is misplaced after the Orlando terror attack. A British report says the Islamic State group is launching a counteroffensive in Syria's northern province, retaking wide areas they'd recently lost to government troops. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Partly sunny skies. We have 66 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago Teachers Union says this morning they're planning a series of protests around the city. CTU says they'll use their furlough day tomorrow to rally outside 5 different locations in the Loop. The union urging the city to pass a variety of higher taxes to provide more funding for Chicago public schools. An investigation is underway after a 4-year-old girl drowned at a West Suburban swim club. Police say Anna Trent was found unconscious Sunday night in a pool at the Downers Grove Swim and Racket Club. That pool has been closed until further notice. Chicago police are launching an investigation after a video posted online appears to show an officer punching a man during an arrest on the city's south side following an incident near 88th and Wabash. City's police superintendent says the high number of shootings will continue until the state enacts tougher gun laws.
The Chicago Police Department is doing their part in terms of arresting people with guns. Where we're losing it is holding those repeat gun offenders accountable for what they do.
City Superintendent making his opinion known yesterday after taking part in a panel discussion at the City Club of Chicago. The head of the Chicago Public Schools at a forum last night says the district will pay whatever it takes to remove lead from the water at Chicago Public Schools. Forrest Claypool met the public last night at Mather High School on the city's north side. And in follow-ups to stories we told you about yesterday, a man is dead after the car he was riding in crashed into a retention pond over the weekend in Aurora. And the western Illinois city of Mount Sterling will not cut off water service to a state prison. In spite of the failure of the state to pay its bill, Mount Sterling City Council voting 6-0 against disconnecting service to the Western Illinois Correctional Center. White Sox beat Boston in 10 innings, 3-1. St. Louis over the Cubs, 3-2. The news, a service of Subway. Try a hot, delicious Subway breakfast sandwich built just the way you want it, like egg whites and cheese with tomato, fresh spinach on toasted flatbread, and then customize it with your choice of cheese or fresh veggies, Black Forest ham or steak, even jalapenos. The Subway Sandwich Shop. Fresh is what we do. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It finally feels like summertime in Chicago. The weather is warm, but the news, it's even hotter. So whether this will be the summer of Trump
Hillary is very weak. I think she's pathetic.
or the summer of Hillary,
The Republican nominee should never get near the White House.
one thing's for sure.
We're going to have a very contentious campaign.
The temperature will reach 560.
We need a tough tone in this country, folks.
AM 560.
She can't even handle her emails. How can she be president?
The Answer.
Raise your hand if you think you know what identity theft is. Just kidding. This is a radio commercial. We can't tell if your hand is up. But we can tell you that if you think identity theft is when someone adds charges to your credit card, you're only partially right. Identity theft is when someone pretends to be you, to open new accounts in your name, or any number of other bad things. That's where LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a whole range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, our US-based team of specialists will work to fix it. You'll get more protection with LifeLock than you get from free credit monitoring alone. Obviously, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock is the best identity theft protection available. Join LifeLock right now and get a special 15% discount off your first year. Visit LifeLock.com and use promo code 15OFF. That's 15 off to take advantage of an incredible 15% discount off your first year. Act now. Offer ends July 3rd. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code 15OFF. LifeLock.
7:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the eastbound Eden Spur, traffic is stop and go from Waukegan Road to the Edens. Then delays resume around Lincoln Avenue. It's 28 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. Kennedy, 45 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 50. The Eisenhower is an hour and 20 minutes from Thorndale to downtown, an hour 5 from Manheim, outbound 49 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, it's jammed. Cicero to 87th. There was a car fire. Everything's moved to the right shoulder now, and it's stop and go from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Adams Tollway delays from the Fox River to 25 and Lee to the River Road Toll. Westbound Roselle to Barrington with work in the right lane. Reagan Tollway heavy, 31 to Eola and Highland to the Eisenhower. Veterans Memorial from Boughton most of the way to St. Charles, and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, here's our meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, partly sunny and less humid, high 83. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 64. Tomorrow, watch for severe thunderstorms, which could bring damaging wind gusts, even a tornado. High tomorrow of 82 and a low 66. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
67 at O'Hare, 72 along the lakefront. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by attorney John DeWatt, an attorney with heart at thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Tuesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I think Corey's terrific, but I think it's time now for a different kind of a campaign.
It's been so amazing, and I wouldn't change 1 second of my time with Mr. Trump other than to say thank you.
The other thing that jumps out in the transcript is that his pledge of allegiance to ISIS and its leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was not a one-off, so he really declares himself very effectively as a follower of the Islamic State.
Under President Obama, you're not to make any reference that could possibly indict Islam, and it exposes the administration as fanatical in trying to cover up and hide the connection with Islam.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So how about that full 180, less than 24 hours, by the Department of Justice when it came to releasing the transcripts from the 911 calls made by the Orlando killer? from ridiculous redactions of Allah and references to Islam. It was so silly that even
How silly was it?
It was so silly. Even the regime couldn't abide it. And so the full transcripts were ultimately released. And again, though, it's if I'm kind of trying to elevate my intellectual heft to the level of the New York Times editorial board, I mean, I just can't make heads or tails of this. I don't know what you think. But when the Orlando killer says, in the name of Allah, praise be to God, and prayers as well as peace be upon the prophet of Allah, I let you know I'm in Orlando and I did the shootings. My name is, I pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of the Islamic State. I pledge allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of the Islamic State. May God protect him. May Allah protect him on behalf of the Islamic State. What's he trying to say?
You know what? I don't know.
I mean,
Stop ripping on the Episcopalians.
It's
really
baffling.
So the AG replaced Allah with God. And they claim it isn't the first time the Obama administration has done this before. And Paul Ryan and you, Dan Proft, I think are the reasons why that they decided for full transparency, full disclosure, and just said it like it was. Instead of putting God, then they replaced it with Allah, an Islamic soldier.
Somebody must have informed Attorney General Loretta Lynch that 911 calls are matters of public record. I'm just surprised they didn't take the State Department tack and just expunge the 911 calls like they did the exchange between a State Department flack and Fox News reporter James Rosen over the issue of negotiating with Iran with respect to providing them a glide path to nuclear weapons. But he also mentioned included in the transcripts were references the killer made to strapping himself with a bomb vest, to a bomb being in a vehicle outside
his car,
outside the club, and so forth. So it also includes, importantly here, once you get beyond the nonsense from the Department of Justice, it also includes the exchanges, the timeline of the exchanges between the hostage negotiators that the police dispatched and the killer. And that's important as well because there's been some criticism of police in terms of their response time, the time they took to breach the club and rescue those that they rescued. And, it speaks to the complicated situation that police and first responders faced and what they were trying to do in terms of threat assessment and what was the best approach to save the most amount of people. And I think it's difficult to criticize the police when you get this full picture.
Yeah, because some relatives said, oh, my gosh, my loved one bled out because they didn't go in right away. Well, they did go in. They said in a matter of 8 minutes, he fired off all his rounds, 202 rounds, they suspect, and then took hostages in the bathroom. And that's when he started making these phone calls, and then that's when the negotiation team started talking to him.
And Catherine Herridge was on with Greta last night. She had some interesting comments. Best reporter in the business, focuses on national security matters, and a couple of things that caught her eye. One was in the transcripts, and then she also relayed a conversation she had, with a senior FBI official in the wake of this kind of feckless Department of Justice decision-making about the transcripts. First on the transcripts themselves.
The other thing that jumps out in the transcript is that his pledge of allegiance to ISIS and its leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was not a one-off. There's like a steady drum beat throughout these tapes and in the negotiations with the crisis team of this pledge of allegiance. So he really declares himself very effectively as a follower of the Islamic State.
And then Catherine Herridge's conversation with a senior FBI official. This is important because it speaks to how much faith, frankly, we should have in the Department of Justice and the FBI, I'm sorry to say.
I did speak with a former FBI official before I came on the air tonight who said that just the fact that it changed so quickly tells you that it was politically motivated, because if it was about the sanctity of the investigation, they would have just, stuck to their guns. And the second thing is that it really raises a question about the integrity of the evidence. This person said to me that they've always known FBI Director James Comey to be someone who has been really solid on the importance of the integrity of the evidence. And this person said in their 20-plus years at the Bureau they had never seen this before, and it raised a lot of questions as to the approach and attitude of the Justice Department and the FBI to other ongoing investigations.
So,
but don't you think the FBI got the directive from President Obama?
Well,
and Loretta Lynch saying
Justice.
that we don't want repeat offenders, we don't want copycats out there.
It's one of those things where I doubt he even needs to give the order anymore because Loretta Lynch is ideologically aligned with President Obama. She doesn't need to be told what to do. She knows what to do. And what Herod said at the end there, other investigations, calls into questions the protocol, the approach to other investigations. Gosh, what could that former FBI official she was speaking to be referencing?
Maybe Hillary emails?
Bingo. And so what you have here is essentially a former FBI official telling the best reporter in this area in the Western world, the Department of Justice and the FBI have been compromised by politics. Mm-hmm. That's what she's saying, if I just translate it. And there's no question that that's true. Now, to offer one voice of sanity in the Obama regime, that is Defense Secretary Ash Carter, who gave a speech yesterday. He connected dots that the Obama White House, that Loretta Lynch don't want to connect. He connected them at least. At least he's not shining us on.
Last week's tragic shooting in Orlando underscores the urgency of that last one. It reminds us that ISIL not only tyrannizes the population where it arose in Syria and Iraq, but it also wants to spread its evil ideology and to plot or inspire attacks on Americans, including here at home. And Orlando further steels our resolve to carry out all the aspects of our coalition military campaign plan. First, destroying ISIL's parent tumor in Iraq and Syria, which is necessary, not sufficient, because second, we need to combat ISIL's metastases worldwide, wherever it appears. And third, help protect the homeland and our people.
At least we have a defense secretary who knows what the issue is. And the issue is radical Islamic terrorism as carried out by ISIS, not limited to ISIS, but focused on ISIS, particularly given the CIA director, John Brennan, said earlier this week, we have not diminished ISIS's capacity to inflict terrorism on a global scale. We have not. John Brennan, CIA director, said that. So we've got a few serious people in important positions that are focused on the right threat, that are not being, moved by the politically correct nonsense coming out of justice, and unfortunately, by extension, the FBI, all as their proximate relationship to the White House. But
I mean, back to
that doesn't make it any less concerning.
Redacting the transcripts to replace Allah with God. I mean, what is wrong with them and the FBI's decision to do that? How dumb do they think we are? We all know that he was a radical Islamic extremist inspired by ISIS. Didn't get a direct order by ISIS, but he was inspired by them. I mean, it's just embarrassing. Then it just makes me question my level of trust with the FBI and the Department of Justice.
How dumb do they think we are? I'll tell you how dumb they think we are. The Obama administration thinks that there is 50% plus one of the population that is so dumb that they will not fill in those blanks, that they will buy the line of bull jive that Loretta Lynch spewed all over the Sunday talk shows this weekend, just as they did the line of bull jive Susan Rice spewed all over the talk shows after the Benghazi attack. They believe 50% plus one of the population is dumb enough for them to count on. Let's go to Chris in Wheeling. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning. I like that you called it bull jive. The media is reporting that they released a full transcript of these calls in Orlando, but it's a 150-second call, and there's 27 minutes of phone calls. So I'm just wondering, how come nobody's reporting it?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a fair point. Thanks for the call, Chris.
And we didn't have the audio. We just had transcripts.
Right.
Which is, I don't remember this happening in the past. Do you? Normally you get the 911 calls.
Well, the audio, like, transcribing the audio, matter of public record. I guess we're going to have to fill out a FOIA request here, me and you. Ralph in Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. I mean, Obama's administration, they had to release the unredacted version, because if they didn't, they would look extra foolish instead of their regular, everyday, totally foolish.
Yeah.
And Amy, I know you asked rhetorically, how dumb do they think we are? They know that the American public is unbelievably stupid, because look at what we've elected.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Ralph. Right, dumb enough to reelect Obama. Ted in Oak Forest. Hey, Ted.
Good morning.
Yep, you're on.
Yeah, good morning. Moderate Muslims since 600 A.D. are the ones that followed the Islamic army, and they would take over the farms, towns, cities, and all the people's stuff. Well, the army moved on and got converted more. And they started off with one tent and a camel. Look at them.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up next, why a vet was thrown out of a ceremony. Oh, he was praising God, not Allah. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine today. Just a gorgeous day to golf because Dan's trying to get his groove back. He's playing golf today.
Very much like Stella.
Yes, you are. It's going to be a high of 83 degrees. Less humid for you, so maybe the ball will travel further. And then tonight into tomorrow, some showers and thunderstorms. And tomorrow, watch for some severe thunderstorms rolling through here. A high of 79. Let's get those travel times on this last day of school for the Chicago Public School students. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Yeah, be extra careful this afternoon around those city schools, the public schools, with a lot of giddy kids. Make sure they watch if they're crossing the streets. Right now, it's pretty heavy on the Chicago Expressway, especially the Ike and the Stevenson. The Eisenhower is an hour and 20 minutes from Thorndale to downtown. An hour 5 from Manheim. Outbound 49 minutes from Thorndale into Stevenson. An hour and 15 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 40 minutes. The Edens has spur delays starting at Waukegan Road. Then it's 28 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 26. The Kennedy, 46 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 50. The Rhine is a 30-minute drive, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State jammed Cicero to 87th after a car fire. Then from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Reagan Tollway very slow this morning from 31 to Eola. Naperville Road, then most of the way to the Tri-State. The Veterans Memorial has delays. Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Findlay to St. Charles, and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Oh, it is officially summer and the kids are out of school and you need some way to entertain them? Well, visit our mobile app and register to win a family 4-pack of tickets to both the Lyle Eyes in the Skies Hot Air Balloon Festival taking place July 4th weekend and the Joliet Slammers baseball game. Download the AM 560 The Answer mobile app from your phone and register now. Contest ends Sunday, June 26th.
You're unique, so why is your mattress one size fits all? Because a custom mattress costs thousands, until now. Hi, I'm Christian von Rickenbach, founder of HelixSleep.com, where you can buy a mattress online, customized for you, for hundreds of dollars instead of thousands. Go to HelixSleep.com, answer a few simple questions, and we build you the most comfortable mattress you'll ever sleep on. Shipping is free, and you have 100 nights to try it out. Go to HelixSleep.com/try now and get $50 off your order. HelixSleep.com/try now.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for help getting free medication, if available and eligible. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
CertaPro painters are here for every stage of your life, from moving into a new home, creating the ideal nursery, to reinventing your living space. CertaPro painting experts create the perfect setting while you do life. They came to our home and brightened our walls and our moods so very quiet they wouldn't wake a baby. But the best part? They clean up after themselves so you don't have to do it. And now that spring is here, it is the perfect time to spruce up your home's exterior. Take a look at your home. Do you see chipping, peeling, fading? Well, leave it to CertaPro painting experts to refresh, renew, and protect your biggest investment, your home. Now is the time to call for your free estimate and schedule your exterior painting project. 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA. That's CERTA with the C. Or visit CertaPro.com today. CertaPro.com. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
The success of a mid-sized business often comes down to one thing: managing your cash flow. I'm Ann Dollagall, Treasury Management Executive at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, we take a personalized and proactive approach to structuring your cash management solutions to keep your financial assets safe and working for you. Our automated accounts receivable and accounts payable technology allows your business to grow without adding to your overhead expenses. And what truly sets Signature Bank apart is our personal approach. We get to know your business by rolling up our sleeves to work alongside you. Call me today for a review of your company's operational challenges.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so this story comes to us from an Air Force retirement ceremony. For countless years, service members have given the flag-folding speech at military and civic events, including retirement ceremonies. The speech traditionally explains the colors, symbols, and history of the flag. The flag-folding speech contains several religious references, including "Let us pray that God will reflect with admiration the willingness of one nation in her attempts to rid the world of tyranny, oppression, and misery. It is one nation under God that we call with honor the United States of America." The speech closes with "God bless our flag, God bless our troops, God bless America." Well, obviously you see the problem there.
What's the problem?
That's bigoted, hateful language.
To say "God bless America"?
Yeah. You're hurting my ears with that.
I've got an American flag shirt on. America.
In 2005, the Pentagon changed the speech to remove references to God.
That's right.
Substituting like historical facts like Neil Armstrong planting the flag on the moon, or as Sheila Jackson Lee thought, on Mars.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Many service members prefer the traditional speech. So that takes us to the story of Oscar Rodriguez, Senior Master Sergeant Oscar Rodriguez, who retired from the Air Force in 2013 after 33 years of service to our nation. He was asked by a colleague of his, Master Sergeant Charles Robinson, to give the flag-folding speech at Master Sergeant Roberson's retirement. This was at Travis Air Force Base, where Roberson served in the 749th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron. Well, the event went forward as planned, and by the way, Rodriguez likes to give the traditional flag-folding speech.
Yes.
The one that includes references to God. The event went forward as planned. Rodriguez took the position at the retirement ceremony of his friend, Master Sergeant Charles Roberson.
Yeah.
It began the flag-folding speech, at which time 4 uniformed airmen surrounded him, forcibly seized him, and dragged him out of the room as he was shouting his speech over the heads of those that were dragging him out of the room.
They physically removed him from the room.
Yeah. Then they expelled...
Oh, my gosh.
Air Force personnel expelled Rodriguez from the base entirely. 33-year veteran of the Air Force. "It was one of the most humiliating experiences of my life," said Rodriguez, "to have the Air Force assault me and drag me out of a retirement ceremony simply because my speech included the word God is something I never expected from our military."
Did they tell him before he got up there not to reference God?
Yeah, there was a Lieutenant Colonel Michael Savitsky expressed opposition to having Rodriguez attend the retirement ceremony to give the speech because he knew he was going to give the traditional speech, and Lieutenant Colonel Savitsky tried to block it. But Roberson, whose retirement ceremony it was, said, "No, I want Rodriguez there to give the speech as intended." And so I guess Lieutenant Colonel Savitsky had some plans for Rodriguez when he's had Rocco and Moose on standby to drag him out of the ceremony and off the base. Now, First Liberty is essentially a public interest law firm that's focused on religious liberty, has sent a letter to the U.S. Air Force and the commander of Travis Air Force Base demanding the Air Force issue an apology and offer an admission that Air Force personnel violated Mr. Rodriguez's civil rights, a promise that Rodriguez is welcome to return to the base, and so on and so forth. Standwithoscar.com is the website.
Oh, okay.
Standwithoscar.com is the website where Americans can sign a letter expressing their support for 33-year Air Force veteran Oscar Rodriguez, who was dragged out of a retirement ceremony and off a military base for invoking God in a traditional speech honoring his friend's service in the Air Force. Welcome to America.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Congratulations to all who took the Balance of Nature New Year's Challenge. Success stories are pouring in. So many people have been helped through this incentive that I have asked Balance of Nature to continue this challenge for as long as possible.
I'll tell you what, this stuff is great. I haven't gotten sick. Everybody around me is coming down with that laryngitis, and it seems like it's all over the country. It's like a respiratory tract infection, and people lose their voice, and then it goes away, and then it comes back like 2 weeks later, and it's worse. I teach in a school. Half the teachers here, are sick. They're miserable, and I haven't gotten sick, and I swear it's this stuff. It's this fruits and veggies I'm taking.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Business owners, I want you to stop and think about the one part of your organization that you simply cannot live without. What comes to mind? Your employees, your location, your customers? How about your technology? Let's face it, everything rests on your network running smoothly and efficiently, and that's where Turnkey IT comes in. They understand the value of your network and the critical role it plays in your company. They'll keep your network up and running and resolve any problems so you can focus on the important things. Turnkey IT's team of professionals will respond to you quickly. They won't roll their eyes when you ask them questions or try to dazzle you with confusing technical jargon. So this spring, Turnkey IT is offering a free security audit. That's right. Even if you have an IT guy, this free security audit will help you understand if they're keeping your data safe from viruses and hackers. So visit turnkey.pro today to schedule your free security audit and mention that Amy sent you. That's turnkey.pro, turnkey.pro. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we talked to Professor John Lott Jr. about guns and what the Senate didn't do on guns yesterday. That's at 7:37.
And then later, the drunkest cities in America is Chicago on the list. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Olympic leaders are focusing on athlete doping today as they meet in Switzerland ahead of the Rio Olympics. Amid the backdrop of the ban on the entire Russian track and field team, the group is considering additional ways to crack down on cheating. Former Donald Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski says his firing was not like an episode of The Apprentice.
There was a meeting yesterday. I came to work around 6 and did our standard meetings, and then around 9:30 or so I had a meeting with a couple of the people in the office, and then had a chance to speak to Mr. Trump on the telephone. And the idea is that the campaign wants to grow and get bigger and be more robust.
Lewandowski telling Fox News this morning he believes Trump will be the next president. The campaign party ways with Lewandowski on Monday. Senate Democrats voicing their disappointment after a series of proposed gun control measures failed to move forward.
It's trying to come together.
I think it's all a matter of
sadly, what I'm going to have to tell them
the
is
principles
the NRA
we take in our
Florida
lives.
Senator
There's
Bill
a chance that I will lose my
FBI
job.
changes its mind and releases the full transcripts from Orlando shooter Omar Mateen's call to 911.
I can be
the
a sacrificial
FBI and
lamb,
Department
but
of
it's the
Justice
kids
releasing
that
a joint
I'm
statement
concerned
explaining
about.
they have
And that's
reissued
why
the complete transcript to include
Sometimes
references
it breaks my heart that,
in order to provide the highest level of
they have to go through
transparency,
this.
they say, under the circumstances. Chicago Teachers Union planning a series of protests across the city using their furlough day tomorrow to rally for higher taxes. An investigation is underway after a 4-year-old girl drowned at a West Suburban racket club. And Governor Rauner says, yes, he does plan to run for office again in 2018. Chicago sports, White Sox over Boston 3-1-10. St. Louis over the Cubs 3-2. The news service of Oscar Mayer beef hot dogs. When you think back to your favorite foods growing up, hot dogs are always on that list, especially Oscar Mayer hot dogs. But as you get older, you may want to start eating more like a grown-up. That's why Oscar Mayer jumbo beef hot dogs are made with the great grown-up taste of 100% Angus beef. So enjoy a childhood favorite, all grown up. 7:34, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes the GOP is missing a huge opportunity.
That has been the great failure of the Republican Party, not to talk about the damage the left does. They talk about individuals, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, doesn't mean a thing. If you support the left, you are supporting the damaging, perhaps irreparably, of the society. I know you mean well, and it doesn't matter.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Galaxy's free sale. Free installation, free design, and free financing.
773-783-8300. Call Galaxy.
Hey, Bob, how's business? Is the new website helping?
Not good. I can't figure out how to get the website finished. How did you do it?
Easy. I called Web.com. They built my website for free. Then they promoted it on all the search engines.
Like Google, Yahoo, and Bing?
Exactly. And Web.com has helped grow my business so much, I had to bring on new staff.
Hey, if Web.com did it for you, they're perfect for me.
Call now, 1-800-535-8815. That's 1-800-535-8815. Again, 1-800-535-8815.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for help getting free medication, if available and eligible. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. Billy wanted to contact a realtor before purchasing a home in Arlington Heights. Bad move. Not getting pre-qualified by me before talking to a realtor is like skydiving without a parachute. I pre-qualified Billy to purchase a home and introduced him to Donna Sattler, my preferred Arlington Heights realtor. If you're purchasing a home, call me first. I'll pre-qualify you for free and introduce you to my experienced team of preferred realtors who will help you locate the perfect home. My team of real estate experts will always look out for your financial best interest. If you're buying a home, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License 4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
7:37 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Kennedy is now a 55-minute drive from O'Hare to downtown, outbound 50. The Eden's 30 minutes. Lake Hook to the junction, outbound 35. The Eisenhower, an hour and 20 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound an hour and 5 minutes. Stevenson, an hour 15. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, stop and go 21 to Eau Plaine. Northbound from Kedzie to 95th, Archer to 31st. After the Cermak toll to Grand Avenue, the other tollways are very heavy as well. Traffic service of Napa Auto Parts. This month, Mobil 1 full synthetic oil is only $5.99 a quart at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. That's Napa know-how. While supplies last, General States pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, partly sunny, pleasant, less humid today with a high near 83. 69 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by All Seasons Pool and Spa Outdoor Living Expo, June 24th in Orland Park. Visit aspools.com for details.
Let not your heart be troubled. Listen to me, Sean Hannity. I'll have the latest news and what it all means for you. It's coming up at 2 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, coming up, we're going to have Dr. John Lott Jr. on the show, expert on guns and Second Amendment and many other things, noted economist. But before that, briefly, I just want to reference an excellent piece in the Wall Street Journal today by Bill McGurn entitled Guns, Democrats, and Terror. And he references a New York model that could be scaled. Why doesn't the left want to scale what New York did to reduce gun violence and to chill terrorist activity? And frankly, prevent it during the time of Bloomberg and New York Police Commissioner Ray Kelly. No terrorist attacks there after 9/11. McGurn writes about what they did. The finest
what did
police
they do differently?
Well, Mr. Kelly, Ray Kelly, the commissioner there, began a second stint as New York's top cop on January 1st, 2002. So New York's still clearing debris from the Twin Towers, and his charge was not just to deal with gang crime and street violence, but to prevent another terrorist attack.
Right.
Over the next 12 years, he did just that. Mr. Kelly, writes McGurn, pulled off what President Obama and Hillary Clinton now claim are their post-Orlando priorities: assault on gun violence and smarter policies to identify terrorists before they strike. Here's the rub. The secret to New York's success wasn't just Mr. Kelly, it was also Bloomberg. He was a liberal rarity, writes McGurn, Bloomberg. And Paul would not throw his cops under the bus when successful policies produce politically inconvenient results. So one of the things Kelly did, expand stop and frisk. Gun control for bad guys is a better way to think about it, writes McGurn. I like that characterization. Cops would be proactive. When they spotted someone behaving suspiciously, he would be stopped, questioned, sometimes frisked. Often police found an illegal weapon. The gun control was not limited to the thousands of guns taken off the streets this way because the bad guys knew they might be frisked, so they started leaving their guns at home, and New York became America's safest big city. Compare that to Chicago, where Chicago has more murders, gross numbers, than New York, despite being a third the size, population-wise.
I mean, think about it. 12 people were shot over the weekend, or 12 people killed, 41 shot.
How
is the weekend?
How is the success greeted in New York? Like you would expect from the left. The cops were denounced as racist because the stops at black men were disproportionate to the percentage of the general population. And, of course, Bill de Blasio banned racial profiling and promised he would do so when he ran for mayor. It's the Sandinista there, as Larry Kudlow calls him, Bill de Blasio. So stop and frisk worked, and, of course, the left denounced it. Also this, Ray Kelly set up a demographics unit. The AP would win a Pulitzer for sensationalizing a series, falsely implying it was about blanket spying on Muslims. In fact, writes McGurn, the unit was about getting smart, learning where, for example, terrorists such as the Tsarnaev brothers might look for shelter had they made it to New York, as they had planned after the Boston Marathon bombing. 2007 NYPD report, 2007, called Radicalization in the West, the Homegrown Threat. A sentence from the first paragraph of the executive summary of that New York Police Department report. Rather than being directed from al-Qaeda abroad, these plots have been conceptualized and planned by unremarkable local resident citizens who sought to attack their country of residence utilizing al-Qaeda as their inspiration and ideological reference point. All you have to do is substitute ISIS for al-Qaeda, and you've got Orlando. That's exactly what happened in Orlando. And McGurn writes, so how did the left react to this demographics unit, smarter policies? The de Blasio administration in New York pulled the report from the NYPD website as part of a settlement with Muslim groups who had sued. No terror attack, safest big city in America, stop and frisk, demographics unit. Why doesn't the left and all those leftist senators accusing Republicans of selling weapons to ISIS, why don't they want to scale what happened in America's big biggest city, liberal big city. Well, for more on that and maybe perspective on the McGurn piece, we're now happy to be joined by the aforesaid Dr. John Lott Jr. His next book, The War on Guns, comes out August 1st. Dr. John Lott, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
What about that McGurn piece and the model in New York City? Is that something that you agree could and should be scaled?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with stop and frisk to try to stop the people who it's illegal for them to carry guns. You make it difficult for them to do that. I mean, I suppose the one thing I would do is I would also make it easier for law-abiding people who want to be able to protect themselves to be able to go and do so with guns. But, I have no problem at all with that being part of the equation.
But don't you think the people who had the problem were Muslims who thought they were being racially profiled?
Right. Well, I mean, I think the problem is that they would go to those neighborhoods where the crime rates were highest, and so you'd be more likely to have crimes in, let's say, more heavily black neighborhoods. And so, you just would end up picking up more blacks in those areas that you'd be stopping and frisk simply because you would put the police in the areas where the crime rates were.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of. I have a friend in the Chicago Police Department. He's like in Inglewood on Chicago South Side. Said if it's 99% African American. If I stopped a white guy who was in Inglewood just because he was in Inglewood, then I would be accused of racially profiling the white guy because he doesn't belong in Inglewood. I mean, this is the silliness you get into when you obsess about racial profiling rather than allowing cops to just do their jobs with respect to people that are behaving suspiciously. Behavior, not race.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the way I would view it is, who are they committing crimes against in these heavily black neighborhoods? It's going to be other blacks. And so the question becomes, who do we care about trying to save? Is that the motivation? You go to where the crime is, and you want to try to stop those victims in those heavily crime neighborhoods from becoming victims. And it just so happens that you may end up stopping people that are disproportionately minority in those places, but at the same time, the people whose lives you're saving are going to be disproportionately minority.
4 measures on guns taken up by the Senate yesterday. 4 measures go down in the Senate yesterday. Would any of what was proposed by Democrats or Republicans done anything to enhance our safety?
No. And, the amazing thing is that it wouldn't have stopped. None of those rules would have stopped Orlando. None of those rules would have stopped a single mass public shooting during the entire Obama administration, nor would they have done one over at least the last couple decades. And I think, finally, some people in the media are finally asking those types of questions. But, it's been bizarre. After each of the mass public shootings, President Obama has pushed for these so-called expanded background checks on private transfers of guns. And yet that hasn't been applicable to any of these attacks. And we've even had attacks in places where states that already have these types of laws. You look at Europe, a lot of Europe already has these types of laws, and they actually have a death rate from mass public shootings in the European Union that's virtually the same as what we've had during the United States over the Obama administration.
No, Donald Trump on Saturday when he was in front of a crowd in Phoenix said that the key with the Orlando shooter is if people were armed at that nightclub. He since retracted that and said, no, I meant that they needed to have employees or, more security that were armed. But what do you think about his initial statement about people being armed at nightclubs?
I mean, I guess I agreed with that statement a lot. Look, if you have guards at places, or let's say even police guarding a place, that's an incredibly difficult job that they have to go and have people in uniform or people who stand out as being guards in these places when you're talking about terrorist types of attacks. Terrorists have huge strategic advantage. If they arrive on the scene and you have a guard there, who's the first person they're going to kill? In Charlie Hebdo last year, the first person killed was the guard outside the building. When the French president put 10,000 troops on the street after Charlie Hebdo, you have two problems. One is if they do attack a place, that will be the first person killed. They have a very dangerous job in terms of stopping those attacks. And the second thing is there's so many possible targets. You go and put some police in front of different areas, then they just simply choose another target, whether it was 10,000 or even 100,000 troops. There's no way you're going to cover all the possible targets in a city like Paris of 2.3 million people. And I guess I just don't understand why people don't understand that point about all the possible targets that are there. This killer in Orlando, he obviously had frequented that establishment a lot. He knew where the guard was there in the place. And it's being a guard in a place like that is very difficult for another reason, and that is it's simply impossible to be on your toes day after day, month after month there from somebody or an attack that can come from virtually any direction. And so, I wish people would finally start talking about these gun-free zones. I know Trump did initially, but look, the concern that people raise, for example, is that, well, it's in a place that serves alcohol. 40 states in the United States allow people to carry handguns, concealed handguns, into places that serve alcohol, actually bars. All the states allow it in restaurants that serve alcohol. And I guess the question I would just ask people is that in all those places, name me one single example of the types of concerns that people have raised that have actually happened. Illinois hasn't had its concealed handgun law that long, but, Indiana and Ohio and Iowa and all sorts of other places that have allowed people to carry in bars have had those rules for decades. And you can't point to one single example of a permit holder getting drunk, pulling out his permanently concealed handgun, and shooting others. Some states essentially say you can't drink if you go into those places. You're kind of like the designated driver. Mm-hmm. Others make it a crime if you're carrying a gun to actually get drunk. But the point is that permit holders tend to be incredibly law-abiding. And so, so much of this debate is about what possibly might go wrong. Well, we don't need to guess in this case because we have a huge experience in the rest of the country in terms of see what happens. And, you go and you ban guns in these places. I'll just give you a simple example. Just a couple months ago in Detroit, there was a father who was concerned about his son's involvement in ISIS, had contacted the FBI. The FBI had put a wiretap on the son's phone. And they have an amazing conversation taped where he was explaining how he had picked one of the largest churches in the Detroit area to go and attack. And there are two reasons why he gave. One is he had checked it out, had a huge church attendance there on Sunday, so there'd be a lot of potential victims. And the second thing is he had checked it out. It was like the one church in the area that had banned people from being able to carry permanently concealed handguns on church property. And so he said that here you have a large number of people that are defenseless, and it would be relatively easy for him to go and kill. I mean, he's explicitly talking about these things on the tape, but it's just not that. You have other cases like the Charleston church shooting last year, where his original target was supposed to be Charleston College until he investigated and realized that the armed security that they had there, he worried would stop him before he was able to go and start killing other people. You have the diary that was released last year for the Batman movie theater shooter. His first target was going to be Denver International Airport. And he also had staked out the movie theaters in his area. Of the 7 movie theaters within a 20-minute drive of his apartment, only one posted signs banning permanently concealed handguns. That's the one he went to. Or the Lafayette movie theater shooting last year. He went to the one movie theater in the area that banned permanently concealed handguns. Or the year before, you have cases like the Santa Barbara shooter or the New Brunswick shooter in Canada, where you have explicit discussions about trying to avoid those areas where people with guns might be able to go and stop them. I mean, I could go on for an hour on this thing, but the point is at some point, we have to talk about the fact that these killers consciously avoid areas where people with guns might be able to stop them. And it's not a surprise that when you look at, let's say, all the mass public shootings since 1950, with just 3 exceptions, all those mass public shootings have taken place where victims aren't able to go and defend themselves, where general citizens, it's illegal for them to have guns.
All right. I'm sorry to interrupt. You make a strong case, as always. No, very good examples. Dr. John Lott Jr., criminologist, economist, the forthcoming book, The War on Guns, that's due out August 1st. John Lott, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Glad that kid in Detroit got stopped. Forecast for today, plenty of sunshine for your first full day of summer. Yes, I can say it. A high of 83 degrees, less humidity. And then tonight, things are going to change around here. We're going to have some showers and thunderstorms late. And by tomorrow, some severe thunderstorms likely with some high, possibly damaging winds. A high near 79 degrees. Any catastrophic travel times on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
There's no summer break in traffic, Amy. The Kennedy now, with delays starting in Harlem, is an hour and 5 minutes. So here to downtown, the express lane save maybe a minute or two. Outbound 50 minutes to the airport. The Edens 30 minutes. Lake Cook to the junction. Outbound 35 the Ike. An hour and 20 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound an hour 10. Stevenson an hour and 15 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 45 minutes. Everything's pretty heavy, including the tollways. The Tri-State. So delay southbound 21 to 120 and northbound Kedzie most of the way to 47th and from the Cermak toll to the Grand Avenue curve. Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
True love is selfless, we commonly hear, but philosopher and novelist Ayn Rand rejected that idea. A selfless love is a contradiction in terms. It would mean that you have no personal stake in the relationship. Instead, romantic love is profoundly selfish. It's a union of mind and body that both people pursue for their own happiness. Ayn Rand wrote that only a rational, selfish man, a man of self-esteem, is capable of love. That's because we love what we personally value, and love is profoundly demanding. To quote a famous line from Ayn Rand's novel, The Fountainhead, to say I love you, one must first know how to say the I. You can learn more about Ayn Rand's thought-provoking perspective on love, sex, and human relationships at ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
Mike Rowe here with a quick IAQ test for my buddy Bill.
Wait, I didn't study.
IAQ stands for Indoor Air Quality, something 1 hour excels at.
Well, I aced my SATs, so...
Yes or no? Do you breathe inside your home?
Yeah.
And what do you breathe?
Air.
And what's in that air?
Air?
Sorry, we were looking for dust mites, household pollutants, even formaldehyde.
Wait, I need to move.
Or you could call 1 hour and improve your IAQ.
That sounds smarter.
Let's see how you do with the disclaimer.
Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Not bad.
Psoriasis and vitiligo are serious diseases. You've tried everything and have been disappointed. Now there's X-Track, a breakthrough treatment that provides long-lasting, safe relief. X-Track is FDA cleared for the treatment of psoriasis and vitiligo and is endorsed by thousands of dermatologists and hospitals because it works. Clinical studies show immediate results with up to 95% clearance. The in-office visits are fast, painless, with virtually no side effects. With thousands of providers treating patients all over the country, X-Track is covered by all major insurance companies and Medicare. We'll help you find a doctor close by, and there is no cost to you until you see results. Get your life back. Live free. Live X-Track clear.
For your no-cost treatment, call now 800-972-3143. That's 800-972-3143. 800-972-3143 or visit xtracradio.com. Qualified patients, certain restrictions apply, results may vary.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Jeffrey Lord, Trump advocate, on the termination of campaign manager Corey Lewandowski. That's at 8:08.
And is Chicago on the list? We'll explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a 4-year-old girl drowns in a Downers Grove pool, and the investigation continues. Governor Rauner says he plans to run again in 2018. Aldermen make changes to a ride-sharing ordinance, part of a compromise brokered on the 5th floor at City Hall. Partly sunny and pleasant day ahead. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Donald Trump admits June's been rough.
I have gotten the worst 3 weeks of publicity I've ever had in my life. Really, the press is hammering me, really unfairly, in many cases.
But the day after he dumped his campaign manager, Trump's pleased new poll numbers still have the race for president close. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
Dave, Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski tells Fox News that he still supports Donald Trump and said he holds no hard feelings over his dismissal.
I believe in Donald Trump. I have from day one, from the first time I met him. He's going to be the best president this country's ever had.
Campaign chairman Paul Manafort will now take over as the day-to-day campaign manager for the presumptive Republican nominee. He's hoping to turn things around. The latest Quinnipiac University swing state poll shows that Hillary Clinton has opened an 8-point lead over Trump in Florida. She's tied with Trump in Ohio and leads by 1 point in Pennsylvania. Dave?
And John, a CNN poll has Clinton up by 5 nationally. The Democrat will make a big speech today focused on the economy. There's gridlock over gun control as expected at the Senate. Fox's Jared Halpern live in Washington.
Near party line votes doomed 4 gun-related amendments aimed at expanding background checks and preventing terror suspects from purchasing firearms.
We're not giving up. The American people aren't giving up.
Connecticut Democrat Chris Murphy and other Democrats vowing to keep up the pressure, but Republican leader Mitch McConnell says it's Democrats standing in the way.
The Democratic alternative would not ensure due process, protect our constitutional rights.
More gun-related debate and votes could come this week on efforts to stop gun sales to anyone on terror watch list. Dave.
Tier 2 wildfires that could merge keep burning near Los Angeles.
This area is under mandatory evacuation.
That was in Duarte, where hundreds of people fled their homes. 7 square miles have burned. Olympic leaders are opening the door to maybe allow some Russian track and field athletes to compete in the Summer Games in Rio under the Russian flag under special circumstance. The International Athletics Federation instituted a ban over doping. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Partly sunny and 69 degrees. It's 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago Teachers Union planning a series of rallies and protests around the city, using a furlough day tomorrow to rally at 5 different locations around the loop, urging the city pass a variety of higher taxes and fees to provide more funding for Chicago public schools. An investigation is underway after a 4-year-old girl drowned at a West Suburban swim club. Anna Trent was found unconscious Sunday night in the pool at Downers Grove Swim and Racket Club. City's police superintendent says the high number of shootings will continue until the state enacts tougher gun laws.
The Chicago Police Department is doing their part in terms of
arresting people with guns. Where we're losing it is holding those repeat gun offenders accountable for what they do.
The superintendent made his opinion known during comments yesterday as part of a panel discussion at the City Club of Chicago. He'll make new comments this morning at the graduation ceremony for a group of CPS cadets. Chicago alderman is agreeing to a compromise in an effort to keep ride sharing in the city. After meeting with lobbyists and members of Mayor Emanuel's administration, Anthony Beal says he'll drop some regulations like fingerprinting that he has proposed for companies like Uber and Lyft. Sox over Boston 3-1-10, while the Cardinals beat the Cubs 3-2. The news service of the Foundation for a Better Life, Mr. Rogers passed along friendship, hoping we would too. Friendship, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Boeing is selling jetliners to Iran. The deal could be worth $25 billion. Boeing says it's selling commercial passenger planes to Iran Air. Iran's airlines say they are in dire need of both medium-haul and long-haul jets. The deal needs the approval from the U.S. government and Iran's, and completing an agreement could take months. Tencent Holdings, the Chinese internet company, is buying a controlling interest in Supercell, which makes the Clash of the Clans mobile game. Model Sporting Goods and Sports Direct, a British chain, could be working together to buy as many as 200 stores from the bankrupt Sports Authority chain. Home builder Lennar reported a strong quarter, and Fed Chair Janet Yellen answers questions from a Senate committee today. The Dow closed up 129 points yesterday. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity lays out what's at stake this election.
The media is ignoring all this anti-American, pro-Mexican flag violence at Donald Trump rallies. I mean, it's getting vicious out there.
There's a lot at stake this election.
If you're pro-life, if you're pro-Second Amendment, if you want to build the wall, you want to repeal Obamacare, you want conservative justices, there's a lot at stake here. And the media wants Trump to lose, big time.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Raise your hand if you think you know what identity theft is. Just kidding. This is a radio commercial. We can't tell if your hand is up. But we can tell you that if you think identity theft is when someone adds charges to your credit card, you're only partially right. Identity theft is when someone pretends to be you, to open new accounts in your name, or any number of other bad things. That's where LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a whole range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, our U.S.-based team of specialists will work to fix it. You'll get more protection with LifeLock than you get from free credit monitoring alone. Obviously, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock is the best identity theft protection available. Join LifeLock right now and get a special 15% discount off your first year. Visit LifeLock.com and use promo code 15OFF. That's 15 off to take advantage of an incredible 15% discount off your first year. Act now. Offer ends July 3rd. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code 15OFF. LifeLock.
8:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the Eden Spur eastbound delays start past Waukegan Road, and it's 30 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 35. The Kennedy with delays starting at Harlem. Now an hour and 5 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 50 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 25 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, an hour and 5 minutes from Manheim. Outbound, it's an hour to Manheim now, an hour 20 to Thorndale. Pretty heavy delays on the extension. Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, stop and go 21 to 120. Northbound from Harlem to 47th. The Cermak toll to the Grand Avenue curve. Eastbound Reagan Tollway, stop and go Randall to Eola, 59 most of the way to 355 and Highland to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorials, the Live 55 most of the way to St. Charles and North Avenue to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
A less humid day today with partial sunshine, high of 83, partly cloudy night, low 64. Watch for severe thunderstorms tomorrow with a high 82, periods of rain and a thunderstorm at night with a low of 66. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
70 at O'Hare, 74 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 8:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Good morning. Welcome to your Tuesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I think Corey's terrific, but I think it's time now for a different kind of a campaign.
It's been so amazing, and I wouldn't change 1 second of my time with Mr. Trump other than to say thank you.
The other thing that jumps out in the transcript is that his pledge of allegiance to ISIS and its leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was not a one-off, so he really declares himself very effectively as a follower of the Islamic State.
Under President Obama, you're not to make any reference that could possibly indict Islam, and it exposes the administration as fanatical in trying to cover up and hide the connection with Islam.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, I guess you could argue that despite 3 bad weeks in terms of press coverage and a number of self-inflicted wounds driving that press coverage, I'm talking about the Trump campaign, of course, that combined with relatively paltry fundraising as compared to Hillary Clinton, both in terms of the actual campaign as well as associated super PACs, and now the shakeup of senior campaign staff, starting with the campaign manager. Despite all of that, over the last 3 weeks, Trump's still, just outside the margin of error in most polling. In its dead heat in in Pennsylvania
and Ohio.
He's down a little bit in Florida, but despite all of that, he's still right there. This thing is still right there for the taking, I think you could argue, based on the numbers. So how does he take it? Well, why don't we talk to CNN contributor Jeffrey Lord about it. Of course, Jeff Lord, contributing editor to the American Spectator, in addition to being a CNN contributor. He's former Reagan and Kemp advisor, and he's got a new book, What America Needs, The Case for Trump. Jeffrey Lord, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. How are you?
Good. Good morning. So let's first give me a lot of stories about Ivanka and her husband went to Donald Trump. Paul Manafort went to Donald Trump in terms of relieving Corey Lewandowski of his campaign manager duties. What's your take on the shakeup in the Trump campaign and how it will shake out?
Yeah, well, I think it's very clear that they decided they wanted to transform the campaign, which frankly, I mean, this kind of thing happens. Just to remind people who may not recall this, on the day of the New Hampshire primary in 1980, Ronald Reagan fired his campaign manager, his press secretary, and his political director all at once, and then went on to win that night, and then went on with a new team to win the whole enchilada, as it were. So this kind of thing happens. On the other hand, Hillary Clinton fired her campaign manager in 2008, and it didn't seem to do her much good. She still lost. So,
yeah, but this is different because
there's
he had
precedent for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Generally, what it means is the candidate has evolved to a point where he wants to go into, he or she wants to go in. And so I think that's what's going on here.
And this is kind of different because he was accused of not harassing, but assaulting a reporter. And then Trump stood by him and said that, basically he would never leave him, that he's his guy. But then this happens.
Yeah, I think that on the one hand, that was an incident that I think that Trump felt that Corey was being treated unfairly and he wasn't going to abandon him. That's one thing. This is a situation where the campaign Trump is now going to be the Republican nominee for president. So it's no longer a primary campaign. It's a different thing. And I think there were probably honest disagreements here on where and how to go next. And personalities, and I can tell you, personalities interject themselves in these campaigns all of the time. and from all the press reports that apparently was in the mix as well. So the thing that I always emphasize to people, people mock Donald Trump to the point of caricature when he says, he likes winning and he wants to win and he wants to make the country win and all this kind of thing. Not to put too fine a point on it, but he really does like winning, and he's going to do what he needs to do to win. He's certainly not going to get this close to the whole thing and then do something that he not do something that he feels he must to win. He's going to do, as I think he's done throughout his entire career, what he needs to do to win.
Well, one of the things he needs to do to win is to produce more resources to fund the campaign, and frankly, his super PACs need to do the same. Maybe they don't have to go toe-to-toe with Hillary, but they certainly have to have the resources to compete to drive a message. They don't have that right now. How concerned are you about that?
Well, I do think he's got to work on this, and I think he will. One of the things that I think is interesting about this is he approaches this whole deal as a business person. I find it utterly fascinating that Jeb Bush raised over $100 million and never won anything, and Donald Trump, for instance, in New Hampshire, I think Jeb spent about over $1 million, and Donald spent something like I don't know, it was $37,000 or $67,000, and won. That has been typical of the Trump campaign thus far. Now we're in a general election scenario, and you've got to do more. So I do think that that's something they've got to work on, and for all I know, that was part of the reason here in making this change, because certainly Paul Manafort understands that to a T.
And speaking of doing more, I mean, I think he needs to beef up his staff. He was, touting himself, saying, I can get all this work done with only 74, 75 people, whereas Hillary has 900 staff. Don't you think, though, to get his ground game going,
I think some of that will come, but I do think that he has a point, and I've been involved in these things, and you always have to watch out for bureaucratic bloat, where in essence you've got 10 people hired to screw in one light bulb. I have a feeling that Hillary Clinton has sort of gone down that path, that they got a lot more people there than they need. But you're right about that, and I think that will happen. I mean, now that this is turning into a full-fledged general election campaign, some of this is just going to happen by force of nature. There's no question.
Well, getting beyond the infrastructure and the resources to market position, it seems to me Trump has been at his best and most successful when he's been the Donald Trump that projects strength, that's willing to take on the kind of establishment elites, whether they're found in the media or academia or in the D.C. ruling class. And he's gotten away from that. So, yes, to talk about terrorism and the threat posed by radical Islamic terrorism and immigration policy, but also to brandish his credentials as a successful businessman when it comes to jobs and economic growth and repeal of Obamacare, and that has been a discussion that has been absent for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Right, and I do think they're going to get back to this. I think, frankly, Orlando, the horror of the whole thing, interrupted the rhythm for everybody, right? He was poised, as you may remember, to give a speech on the Clinton scandals and all this sort of thing on that Monday, right. and of course canceled it. But I do know that they're working on a series of speeches on different topics that they will be having over the next few months, and that's when you really get down to the nitty-gritty of a presidential campaign. I mean, he will be laying out his vision for America without question. I mean, this comes under the rubric that we've seen in the last day or so with this Corey Lewandowski thing, with the criticism that some people felt he needed to be more presidential. That's one way that you do it.
I was talking to Steve Moore from the Heritage Foundation yesterday, and he's a Trump economic policy advisor, as you know, and he said, look, part of it is Trump has definitely suffered some self-inflicted wounds, but the other part is, as much as people talk about the media covering everything Trump does, he gave a great speech in North Dakota, says Steve Moore, on energy policy, and nobody covered it. So to some extent, the media is very focused on covering the sensational aspects of the Trump campaign, and some of the more curious things he says, but not the other thing.
I hate to say this, but you guys are in the media, and I'm in the media, and we all know that the media likes the shiny object.
Yeah, right.
And
so that's a fair criticism.
This is why I think he's been pretty good at this, because he understands the shiny object part of American politics. But it's just a fact of life that if you're going to give a long speech in detail on issue A, B, or C, people suffer from the my eyes glaze over syndrome, and that's a problem for everybody.
So Corey Lewandowski's strategy was to let Trump be Trump, and now that Paul Manafort's in charge, is he going to have a more disciplined candidate, maybe more speeches with teleprompters where our eyes can glaze over?
I think you'll sort of see a mix. I mean, you can't, with Donald Trump or frankly with anybody, you can't force them to not be themselves, right? They're going to be themselves in a fairly natural fashion. Donald Trump is going to be Donald Trump. There's just no question about it. But that will have to be, sort of melded together with the presidential business. And I would add one historical note, is somebody who loves American history. And this actually affected Chicago, as I recall, the famous Thomas E. Dewey, Harry Truman race.
Yes,
and when you go back
Dewey
and
wins.
take a look at this, where Dewey was the overwhelming favorite, in the day they were saying that Harry Truman wasn't presidential, that he was undignified, that he was too vulgar, that he was blunt, and all of this sort of thing, and that Thomas E. Dewey was everybody's ideal of what a president should look and sound like, and he was very presidential. And you go through and you read about that campaign, and every time Truman would jab him, he'd sort of ignore it and glide over it and be very presidential. Well, in the end, of course, Truman won. He won the nickname "Give Him Hell Harry," and there's that famous headline of him holding up the Chicago Tribune, I think it is, that says,
that's right.
Dewey beats Truman.
Right.
Well, it didn't happen. So, to some extent, you need to be wary that, the time to start acting presidential is when you're president, not before.
Well, I just going back to the whole media and shiny object thing, over the weekend, I mean, an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. This 20-year-old Brit arrested in Las Vegas.
Right.
Tried to grab a Las Vegas police officer's gun, and apparently had been planning this attempt for more than a year. That's a pretty shiny object type story. AP reported it, but it's not being widely reported, not like it would be if it would have been Hillary as the target.
I was just going to say, if this had been Hillary, you can bet you would have seen tons of coverage here. So you're absolutely right about that. But there's a ways to go here, so we will see.
Yeah, but
it came out last night as breaking news. Like David Muir, they started their breaking news. And just to find out that it happened on Saturday and we're learning about it Monday night.
Yeah, but why? But Jeffrey, why do you think that is?
Frankly, I do think that there's a bias in the media against Donald Trump. I mean, most Republicans go into presidential races assuming that, no matter who the nominee is. But I think there's, it's sort of there in spades with Donald. And, you're quite right. So this is one of the reasons why Donald Trump has been so successful, I think, is he's been able to get around it with social media. But I do think that this is a problem and has been a problem for decades.
Jeffrey Lord, contributing editor to the American Spectator, CNN contributor, the book, What America Needs, The Case for Trump. Jeffrey, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
How some on social media handled Corey Lewandowski's firing and then got fired themselves. But first, here's your forecast. Today's plenty of sunshine, less humid, a high of 83 degrees. Tonight into tomorrow with some rain and thunderstorms. And tomorrow, watch for some severe thunderstorms, especially south, a high of 79 degrees. How's that inbound Kennedy doing? Here's Jim Telemonte with the answer.
Thanks, Amy. Your inbound Kennedy delays start at Sayre, and it's stop and go the rest of the way in. An hour and 5 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 42 minutes from Montrose, 35 in the Express. Outbound, it's 48 minutes to the airport. There's a stall at Canfield in the left lane. Eden's 30 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 40. The Eisenhower, an hour and 20 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound an hour and 20 as well. There's a crash at 17th at the left lane, but it's also jammed up on the extension. Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Crash reported at King Drive, outbound 45 minutes. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound slow 120 to 137. Northbound from 115th all the way to 31st. And from the Cermak Toll to the Grand Avenue curve. Reagan Tollway Veterans Memorial also really heavy. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Everyone is making predictions about who Donald Trump will pick as a vice presidential running mate. And here at AM 560, we're raising the stakes a little bit. So check this out. If you correctly guess Donald Trump's running mate, you could win $560. That's right. Enter our $560 Veep Stakes contest between now and June 24th. And if your prediction is correct, you could win $560 plus a $50 gift card from the Trump Winery. 2 easy ways to enter. You can fire up that AM 560 mobile app on your smartphone and enter the contest that way, or go to 560theanswer.com/Trump to enter online. It's that easy. Complete rules are online at 560theanswer.com/Trump. Enter today. It's going to be huge.
I'm on a mission to provide home ownership to fellow veterans. My name is Jack Amberg, a 26-year veteran of the U.S. Army. I work at the Federal Savings Bank, a veteran-owned and operated bank, and I am certified to provide VA mortgages in all 50 states. It is my passion to guide you through the home buying process, structure your loan to fit your financial personality, and provide the best combination of rate and fees to accomplish the mission you give me. At the Federal Savings Bank, we control the process from start to finish as we underwrite the loans ourselves. If you're a realtor, I welcome the opportunity to help you grow your VA business. If you're a veteran, I speak your language, so let me explain all of your benefits. Whether you're a realtor or a veteran, call me, Jack Amberg, your VA guy, at 630-995-5244. That's 630-995-5244.
Terms and conditions may vary, subject to underwriting approval. Banker NMLS number 698289. The Federal Savings Bank is an equal housing lender and member of FDIC. NMLS number 411500. You can hit it, run into it, knock it over, and it still won't fall over. What is this, you ask? It's the Wobble Light by ProBuild. It's a self-righting, portable, and virtually indestructible industrial work light. Ideal for applications requiring temporary high-output lighting for construction, manufacturing, utility, and much, much more. The Wobble Light, the brainchild of ProBuilt Professional Lighting, is the only self-right job site light available in the market. If you're in an industry that requires professional-grade portable lighting, turn to Chicago's very own ProBuilt Professional Lighting, manufacturers of portable job site lighting, designed for the pros. To view their catalog and much more, visit ProBuiltLighting.com. All lighting products are sold through construction, industrial, and electrical supply distributors. So ask for the Wobble Light by ProBuilt Professional Lighting. Visit ProBuiltLighting.com. A proud supporter of Operation Support Our Troops America and AM 560. For customer service, call 877-707-0800.
I have struggled with irritable bowel syndrome for 40 years. Really struggled with it. And I want you to know that since I have been taking Balance of Nature, I don't have it anymore. After 40 years, I'm 75 years old, and after 40 years of struggling with this, and, early on taking all kinds of medication and this, that, and the other thing, back in October, I was able to cancel my appointment with the gastroenterologist. Your products have made my life. They have improved the quality of my life so tremendously. I can't be grateful enough. So please thank you all, and please, if you ever have a chance to, please thank Dr. Howard.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
CertaPro painters are here for every stage of your life, from moving into a new home, creating the ideal nursery, to reinventing your living space. CertaPro painting experts create the perfect setting while you do life. They came to our home and brightened our walls and our moods so very quiet they wouldn't wake a baby. But the best part? They clean up after themselves so you don't have to do it. And now that spring is here, it is the perfect time to spruce up your home's exterior. Take a look at your home. Do you see chipping, peeling, fading? Well, leave it to CertaPro painting experts to refresh, renew, and protect your biggest investment, your home. Now is the time to call for your free estimate and schedule your exterior painting project. 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA. That's CERTA with a C. Or visit CertaPro.com today, CertaPro.com. CertaPro painters, we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so good news. ESPN playing the role of the Washington press corps in destroying sports.
Oh,
the
wait,
way the way the Washington press corps with a political ruling class that destroys America.
Are they giving another award to Caitlyn Jenner?
No. But
is she presenting an award to somebody?
You're in the right ballpark. At the ESPYs, ESPN's ESPY Awards. Guess who is receiving the Stuart Scott Inspire Award?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Richard Simmons?
No, not Richard Simmons.
He's quite a pioneer in the day.
The University of Missouri protesters.
What? The protesters?
Yeah, the protesters.
The people who are responsible for driving down enrollment by, 20% now?
$33 million budget deficit for the coming year for as a result of 1,500 undergrads who've left Missouri, in addition to a decline in applications.
They're honoring the people who took over public land
the boycott.
And didn't allow student reporters in. Yeah.
The Black Lives Matter protest boycott that was joined by members of the football team that led to former Professor Melissa Click assaulting a student journalist on campus.
Well, the president had to resign.
So on and so forth. Yeah, they're being honored with the Stuart Scott Inspire Award for professional agitation.
It doesn't really say for professional agitation.
That's my parenthetical remark.
Say.
So congratulations.
Another reason not to watch the ESPYs.
To the Missouri protesters, and congratulations to ESPN for doing their part to destroy the breads and circuses.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Ameritrust Mortgage is the one-stop mortgage shop. Buy or refinance. VA, FHA, and conventional. A local company. Ameritrust Mortgage is your one-stop mortgage shop.
This is Barbara Walters, president of Ameritrust. For any mortgage, call us. We know our business and we get you to the finish line fast. Time is critical when you're under contract and you're doing a mortgage. Our staff underwriter approves your loan. Ameritrust closes your loan with Ameritrust funds. There's never a wait for funds to transfer. Ameritrust is a mortgage banker. Our low interest rates are always a benefit to you. We quote them directly from live screen delivery pricing. That means the best rate. Our fee for any and all of our loans is $795. Charging points is primitive. We never charge points.
Ameritrust Mortgage. Call 815-459-7303 right now and compare. You'll get the lowest quote fast because they make the decisions. 815-459-7303 or go to am560myhome.com.
Hey, if you want something fun to do once the kiddies are out of school, first day of summer for them officially starts tomorrow, why not have Dan Proft take my kids to Donley's Wild West Town? It's a Western theme park, just a short drive from Chicago. It's in Union, Illinois. Dan, you're going to love it because it opens up at 10 a.m., perfect time right after the show. Just drive out there with the boys, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. One admission fee includes everything. There's really, honestly, nothing else like it. There's rides. I could see you on the roller coaster. There's attractions. You could pan for gold for hours. There's slingshots that you can shoot. There's a Wild West show that
Real gold?
Will always entertain. There might be some real gold in that gold. There's a museum, a petting zoo, and great food, and a lot more. Parents, grandparents, Dan Profts, everyone will enjoy a day together at Donley's Wild West Town. It's interactive family.
Is there a gorilla pit?
It's interactive family fun. So check out the details at wildwesttown.com. That's wildwesttown.com. And what a great outing for groups like daycares, church groups, large families. Wild West Town open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Wild West Town, it's good old-fashioned family fun. Hee-haw! Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to a pastor at Infinity Bible Church about how we increase the peace on our streets at 8:38.
And is Chicago on the naughty list? We'll explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, good morning. 70 degrees outside, sunny skies. The Islamic State group launching a counteroffensive in Syria's northern province of Raqqa, retaking wide areas that the terrorists recently lost to government troops. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump taking in more money, but well behind Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton in campaign fundraising. Trump saying this morning on NBC's Today Show he'll spend his own money if he has to.
What I'll do is just do what I did in the primaries. I spent $55 million of my own money to win the primaries. 55.
Trump on NBC's Today Show. Meantime, Former Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski says his firing wasn't like that of a firing on The Apprentice.
There was a meeting yesterday. I came to work around 6 and did our standard meetings, and then around 9:30 or so, I had a meeting with a couple of the people in the office, then had a chance to speak to Mr. Trump on the telephone. And the idea is that the campaign wants to grow and get bigger and be more robust.
Lewandowski on Fox News. Likely Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, according to new polling by CNN, has a 5-point lead over Donald Trump in a new nationwide survey. Millions across the desert Southwest are not getting out from under an excessive heat warning today. Dangerously high temps still soaring across Arizona, California, and southern Nevada. And wildfires aggravated by that heat burn from the Pacific coast into New Mexico. Chicago Teachers Union planning a series of protests around the city as CTU members use their furlough day tomorrow to rally outside 5 different locations in the Loop. An investigation is underway after a 4-year-old girl drowns at a West Suburban swim club. And a Chicago alderman says there's agreement on a compromise in an effort to keep ride-sharing firms like Uber and Lyft in the city of Chicago. White Sox over Boston last night, 3-1 in 10 innings of work, while St. Louis beat the Cubs 3-2. The news, a service of Subway. At Subway, their sweet onion chicken teriyaki and new rotisserie-style chicken sandwiches are handcrafted with chicken raised without antibiotics. They are both better for you and delicious. Make them your own with your choice of fresh veggies on freshly baked bread. Subway fresh is what we do. 8:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher reacts to the Orlando terrorist attack.
There's got to be some common ground here between looking the other way, turning a blind eye to somebody who might very well do what this monster, this savage, this horrible terrorist did, and appreciating and accepting those Muslims who aren't willing to support or condone this in any way, shape, or form.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you love the hunt, this is for you. I'm talking about the hunt for special antique collectibles, furniture, art, and decorative items that make your home sweet home special. A place where you'll discover Chicago's best kept treasures. Northwest Treasure and sister store Home on the Highway are just a block apart on Northwest Highway on Chicago's northwest side. In addition to an amazing selection of antique collectibles and furniture with a mid-century modern focus, you'll find vintage jewelry, decorative items, art, and loads of man cave. Mention AM 560 and receive a 10% discount on your first purchase. Northwest Treasure and Home on the Highway are conveniently located at 6122 and 6217 Northwest Highway in Chicago, close to Chicago's nicest neighborhoods and Park Ridge. And there's plenty of free parking. Call Northwest Treasure and Home on the Highway, home of Chicago's best kept treasures, at 773-774-6353. For more information, call 773-774-7653.
B-Dubs is always taking it to the next level. 21 sauces and seasonings, wall-to-wall flat screen TVs, and specials on wings every Tuesday and Thursday. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
If you could quickly and painlessly clear your psoriasis or vitiligo, would you?
No matter how big the psoriasis is, no matter how small the psoriasis, we can help you.
Ashley is a clinical specialist for X-Track, the amazing in-office treatment for psoriasis and vitiligo that's clinically proven to show immediate results with up to 95% clearance.
What my patients love most about the X-Track treatments is it's safe, it's FDA cleared, and they're seeing results very quickly.
And the embarrassing, painful patches and discoloration with X-Track. There's no medications, no topical ointments, and virtually no side effects. X-Track uses light to transform your skin and change your life. It's covered by all major insurances and Medicare, and will help you find a doctor close by.
I love what I do. I love coming in every day and making a difference in patients' lives. It's amazing.
Call now to live X-Track Clear. Call 800-978-3554. That's 800-978-3554. 800-978-3554, or visit xtracradio.com. Qualified patients, certain restrictions apply.
When elderly family require care, you insist on local medical professionals with specialized training in home service and nursing. Alliance Home Service is a leading family alternative to nursing home and institutional care. It's critical to ask the right questions when matching a caregiver to your loved one to maintain the most positive lifestyle for your entire family. Alliance Home Service is among a select group of Chicagoland companies providing in-home non-medical care such as hygiene, medication reminders, activities and companionship, and medical care. All caregivers have the highest level of training and expertise. You'll experience the cost efficiency of in-home care as well as the level of caring you expect from family. Call founder and registered nurse Linda Weiler at 866-227-3459 or alliancecaregiver.com for no obligation family care consultation. Alliance Home Service, our family caring for your family. That's 866-227-3459 or alliancecaregiver.com.
8:38. Let's get a quick update on the roads at our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Kennedy delays start at Sayre. An hour and 5 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 40 minutes from Montrose, 30 in the Express. Outbound 26 minutes to Montrose. An hour to the airport. Crash before Cumberland. Left lane. Eden's 28 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 40. The Eisenhower, an hour and 20 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound an hour 15. Stevenson, an hour 15 from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45 minutes. Ryan is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, slow 120 to 137. Northbound 95th to 31st, after the Cermak toll to the Grand Avenue curve. Veterans Memorial, slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Finley to St. Charles, and North Avenue to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Partly sunny, pleasant, less humid. High of 83. 70 at O'Hare, 74 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs powered by Tandem HR. Heard Sunday evenings at 6.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, as you know, my nickname growing up on the mean streets of Wheaton was Street God.
Oh.
And I thought I was the only one that had that. Street God.
Really?
Because I ruled the
You stole my line.
streets of Wheaton.
It's the mean streets of Mount Prospect.
I was the Velvet Hammer. That was my other
really?
nickname.
Velvet Hammer.
Yeah.
And Street God. All right.
I
like him.
Didn't realize there was another such person like me until ran across Pastor Demas Celeberios. We've had him on the show before. He's the pastor at Affinity Bible Church. And all kidding aside, this is a serious street god, as it were. That's the name of his book. Turned his life around. He was essentially a gangbanger back in the 90s. And this is in the Bronx. And since that time, turned his life around, became a pastor, told his story, ministers to other young people who've gotten off the beaten path into a life of violence to bring them back into the fold. And he's coming to Chicago he's in Chicago. He's going to be in Chicago, until the 23rd. He is speaking with business leaders and clergy and civic leaders to try and increase the peace on Chicago's streets in a city that, as we've talked about at length, is seeing a spike in violence like virtually no other city in the country.
Yeah, 41 shootings over the weekend from Friday until Sunday at midnight, 12 dead.
Up more than 50% in terms of homicides year over year, 70% plus in shootings.
And isn't it so sad? A 3-year-old was one that was shot. And that's not even young enough now. I mean, now it makes news and splashes a headline if a 6-month-old was shot or a 1-year-old, but a 3-year-old barely gets covered.
So
Sick.
Someone who's been on both sides of the issue and has street credibility, as it were, on topic, Pastor Demas Celeberios. He joins us now. Pastor, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's a privilege to be on the air with you guys. I love your show.
Thank you. And so You've been in Chicago for a couple of days now, meeting with influencers to kind of share your perspective and perhaps make some recommendations about how Chicago can be a little bit more safer than it is, than it has been, frankly, for some time now, and that's not very safe. So how have those conversations gone? What do you see in Chicago that perhaps you don't see in other cities that are safer?
What's been really exciting is we met with pastors from the south side to the suburbs, and about 50 of them yesterday and about 40 we're going to meet with this morning. And just been sharing, I mean, I lived through New York City when it was the worst city, the murder capital of the United States. And I was able to share what the clergy did. And even the police department cites that they didn't do anything different. It was the church on the ground that eliminated the homicides of New York City. And we've been sharing the strategy with them. Also, a young man that was killed on Monday, Adrian Watson, went to visit his mother and helped to pay for the funeral that's going to be taking place on Thursday, and we'll be at that funeral to support that family. Met with a gangbanger out here, going to meet with him later on today and take him out to eat. He lost his father, his brother, and his best friend. I mean, it's like these kids are in the middle of a war, and it's time, and I don't understand why more clergy are not driving in from all around the country to see this as the largest humanitarian crisis, of the day. And quite honestly, I don't know why the president isn't coming in either, which would be so critical. This is where he had his launching pad, and now he wants to stay in D.C., and I don't mean to get off on that, forgive me, but it's just like this is so serious that this has become priority number one, even though I'm living in the Bronx. If I could drive 12 hours to sell crack cocaine from New York to North Carolina, I can do 13 hours to help fight homicide. And we're doing this small campaign of getting out here, and anyone that wants to get involved, one way you can is to go to streetgodbook.com, and any book you purchase on that website, one is going to be given to these young men on the streets. And these young men are reading it, junior high school kids. I'm going to speak to them today. They said in that class that the best book they read all year was Street God, but they don't know if the guy really exists. Oh. So I'm going to this junior high class today to show them that there is a real Dimas Oliveri out there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's crazy.
So, Dimas, your strategy is one person at a time, one gangbanger at a time?
No. I think you have to have a duplicity of approaches. Clergy, like they just had Pray Chicago this weekend, where clergy were going out and into the streets and meeting with people and praying for people. We went to where the young man, Lee, he was 9 years old, who was executed in the park, and we went there. So there's one-on-one. I go after the head leaders. So I try to spend time one-on-one with the leaders to influence them, but also the church has to go out in large number into those streets and engage different people with hope and healing.
Let me ask you this. What about doing this in partnership with police? What do you see the role for police? Because this, of course, is a topic of some consternation, including even with some of the clergy. So how important is it that clergy work with police to stop gang violence?
I think it's critical, but the disappointment that I've seen is I've been in these neighborhoods so far on the south side and on the west side, and I'm driving up and down of the hottest streets that they say all the killings on, and for 30 minutes I didn't see one cop car. I saw no officer walking the beat. The difference between New York City and Chicago is there would be an on-point police tower set up there that would be there 24/7 around the clock. So I personally don't understand the politics of Chicago, so I will admit I'm a neophyte to it, but something is really wrong that there's no police presence out there. I'm encouraging clergy, don't wait for the police. let's do what we can do until they get their stuff together.
Yeah, something is definitely wrong with the politics of Chicago. You've got that right. I wonder if a part of your visit includes conversations with members of the city council or even Mayor Emanuel.
Well, we had someone from the mayor's office in the meeting yesterday, and he was taking notes. We didn't get to meet Mayor Emanuel in any way or someone from city council. But I think, one good strategy is I'm an outsider. So, one critique they say is some people try to befriend the mayor and then they become irrelevant to the cause. So I'm willing to meet with them if that worked out. But my game plan is right now trying to mobilize, the church and people on the ground, and also just to get to know who's who, but not latching on to anyone until I know, what's going on. So I'm going to be doing several trips down here. Every gap that we have and every 2 weeks of my schedule will be here in Chicago until these homicides drop.
Well, I think it's admirable that you're here, and I love that you're paying for, I'm saying his name's Antonio's funeral.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
This kid who was shot on Monday, you're paying for his funeral?
Yeah, we're contributing to Adrian Watson's funeral and really giving support to his mother who has the same name, Adrian Watson, and we're hoping to be able to share with those street kids that show up to that funeral and tell them, man, there's a better way than having the reputation of the killings that's going on right now.
The website, streetgodbook.com. Do I have that right?
Yeah, streetgodbook.com. And some people are going on there getting 10 and 20 books. And what that does is it helps us to take those books out into the streets and give them to these young people. And the way it's written, they dive in. They read it all throughout the prisons. They read it on the streets. It's written for these guys. And, you'll get a copy as well if you do that. And you can read it or also give it to young people.
StreetGodBook.com. He is Pastor Demas Salaberios, pastor of Affinity Bible Church in the Bronx, visiting Chicago to try and increase the peace on our streets. Pastor, thanks again for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you for the opportunity, and God bless you all.
God bless you, too. And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Coming up, call out of the Union. I do like that. They're so good. It's like you're my third base coach telling me when to run or do I stay on base. But I'm going to now jump into the weather department. It's going to be sunny today, less humid, a high of 83 degrees. Tonight, showers and a thunderstorm late. And tomorrow, watch for some severe thunderstorms and high, possibly damaging winds, a high in the upper 70s. Let's get those travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
It'll be a slow run from third to home, no matter who the third base coach is on the Kennedy Expressway. We've got an outbound crash before Cumberland in the two left lanes, so it's jammed starting around North Avenue. Looking at an hour and 5 minutes either way. Between O'Hare and downtown, the inbound delays start at Sayre. The express lanes will save about 8 minutes. The Edens is 28 minutes, like Cook to the Junction, but outbound 40. The Eisenhower is an hour and 20 minutes either way between Thorndale and downtown. An outbound crash at 17th is cleared. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, slow 120 to 137. Northbound, 95th to 31st. And from the Cermak Toll to Grand Avenue, Adams Tollway, eastbound now good, but westbound there are roadwork delays from Roselle to Barrington Road. Veterans Memorial, slow Boughton most of the way to St. Charles and North Avenue to 290. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I've always believed that the best conversations happen with a fine cigar in one hand and a mature libation in the other. Well, on Thursday, August 11th, Dennis Prager and I will be getting together for a cigar night. It's happening at the Bolingbrook Golf Club and is presented by Precision Payroll of America. Join us for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. If you've seen any of the Against the Current interviews I've done at upstream-ideas.com, then you know what this event will look like. Tickets start at $29, and every ticket includes a cigar. Everyone who attends will have a chance to meet Dennis Prager and have him sign copies of his books. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. /cigar or text the word cigar to 64636. Sponsored by Signature Bank and the Elmhurst Cigar House.
I love my Catholic school. My teachers help me to succeed academically. In fact, students at the Catholic schools and the Joliet Diocese are ahead in every category academically, by 20 to 30 points compared to national norm. And 92% of 7th graders meet or exceed growth expectations in reading, language, math, science, and social studies.
You just heard my daughter talk about why she loves her Catholic school. And as a parent, I may not be able to control what is happening in our culture, but I can control how my children are educated. And I do that by sending them to a Catholic school where they have the moral foundation to make the right choices based on the teachings of the Catholic Church. If you want to provide your children with a moral compass to navigate our culture, consider sending him or her to a Catholic school.
Now you can join me at my school. Participating Catholic elementary schools in the Joliet Diocese, and in conjunction with the Catholic Education Foundation, are offering a $1,500 tuition transfer grant to any student who transfers from a public, private, charter, or homeschool. Restrictions apply. For more information, go to www.weteachmore.com.
How'd you feel this morning? Man, I feel great every morning because I got an awesome night's sleep with MyPillow. I know you hear me rave about MyPillow all the time. If you still aren't sleeping on a MyPillow, why not? You'll feel more rested and have a better day. Man, if you experience headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies, MyPillow can make a difference. You have to try MyPillow to experience the benefits. It's a premium pillow with 4 different loft levels to fit you. It's washable, keeps its shape, and supports you where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. Act now and get 2 MyPillows for the price of one. One for you and the other is a gift. It's the best offer, I got to tell you. Visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Joe for the 2-for-1 offer. Do it now. 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code Joe. 800-489-0201.
I'm on a mission to provide home ownership to fellow veterans. My name is Jack Amberg, a 26-year veteran of the U.S. Army. I work at the Federal Savings Bank, a veteran-owned and operated bank, and I am certified to provide VA mortgages in all 50 states.